This conference will now be recorded.
All right, I unmuted my computer so we have audio.
The other,
The other one?
the other one, yeah. I just wondered if we got the USB spot.
Plastic tarps.
All right, we're unmuted. I think I've, yep. Make my volume go down.
Estes Park.
Let me know when we're ready.
I think we can be ready.
Yeah, you
Oh, the
guys can,
seat's moving.
that's Chris's. Yeah, you can start.
Oh, just that one.
There's no video. We can get started.
It says no video.
Oh, gotta get the right camera now.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought about throwing a fake meeting first to try to test everything.
Video is on. Okay, I think we are good to start.
We're good?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Let's call this meeting to order, 9:14 hours. Roll call.
Mike Solori,
Here.
Toshi Bashane. Jeff Hildreth.
Here.
Wes Bonheim.
Here.
Tristan Sanders.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
Thank you everyone for showing up. We're gonna move right into public comment. Is there any public comment or anything like that of something that is not on the agenda for today? Steve?
Right there.
Yep.
I see on the bulletin board, it says they're gonna have ready elections. But I didn't, it's not, never on the agenda. I was thinking maybe the board of directors should have 2-year terms rather than 4, so they don't get all stressed out over all these details. Feel free to comment on what I said.
Thank you, Steve. I couldn't agree with you more. Fantastic. All right, anyone else have any public comments? Something not on the agenda for today. Ready?
This is on the agenda. Hi, good morning. Boy, how exciting that we have an awesome golf tournament this weekend. That's totally almost booked out, 2 people out, so good for us. Super disappointed in the condition of the golf course right now. I've spent the last month going up to Eureka North telling everyone, come down to Shelter Cove. The course is awesome. And then I tried to play golf on Monday. Couldn't, can't even play. It's unplayable. When was the last time you played golf?
It was pretty bad, but I saw him mowing yesterday.
Horrific. So cool if you can get the golf course ready. I don't know if you realize how important it is for this course to attract eyeballs and attention so that you can get some money and then spend some money on things. But this has been so pushed to the side that I have no words. I don't know why the golf course has been neglected for 3 weeks with the first tournament in years coming up. So bombed. And I know you're gonna be rolling everything off to the the board is so busy that maybe the 501c3s might want to raise their game and contribute to the Cove. Well, we need a little bit of money in order to make this happen, and that's the whole point of the tournament this weekend. Again, rolling out a nice golf course would have been in support of the 501c3s, and I get that we're gonna try to get it done in a day and a half, but a Band-Aid on an open wound is what you're looking at right now. It was so good weeks ago. And I don't know why this happened. We're gonna pull off an awesome golf tournament despite this. I'll be on the course Saturday. I'm lining up people like John Firebach to help me mow. Just so you know, super disappointed. Event prep. Todd told me to use the words event prep. So pretty negligent. The weed growing out of the pan on 9 is egregious.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Anybody else? No? All right, move on to consent calendar. Is there anything any board member would like to pull from the consent calendar for later discussion? No? Yeah? Kristen? All right, well, let's get this motion rolling then.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Like minutes and minutes.
Is there a second?
Second,
I will second the motion.
roll call.
Wes Bonheim?
Aye.
Tesha Bashane?
Aye.
Tristan Sanders?
Aye.
Mike Solori?
Aye.
Jeff Hildreth?
Motion carries. All right, we will move on to correspondence discussion items. Humboldt County correspondence, Chris?
Yes, I believe we have Admin Sergeant, I think her name is Andrea online. Let me see.
Yes, I am
Sergeant
here.
Andrea Sherrod or Sherrod, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Would you
It's
like to
Sherrod.
report on the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office this month? And apologize
Sure.
beforehand, audio is going to be a little tricky. But when you
No.
start speaking, I'll go ahead and take care of that.
All right. Thank you for having me. Just looking at the call for service in comparison from
Andrea, are you there?
last
Can you hear
month.
me?
Yep. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
She's talking.
Hey, we cannot hear. I don't know if you're listening something.
All right, so I guess we just don't have good audio today.
You're gonna get all of it. You can go
Can you
back
hear me
to
now?
your own. But I can. All right, you gotta
Yes,
be
I
yours.
can hear from here. Yeah.
You can hear me now?
I can. I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead, Andrea.
All right, thank you for having me. Just comparing calls for service from last month to this month. Calls for service have been down in the Shelter Cove area. The normal calls for service that we're getting in your area are patrol checks, some animal calls, not very much, abandoned vehicles, garbage dumping, a little bit of public assists, neighbor problems, and things like theft and suspicious persons. Mainly for this last month, the uptick in calls for service has risen between the 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Time slot. Last month, we had more calls after 6 p.m. So there was a little shift in that. But overall, things are trending downward for this month. And we did have just a slight uptick in crimes for property, though. But that is about it. If you have any questions or anything else that you'd like me to go over, I'd be happy to.
Does anybody have anything? Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions for Humboldt County Sheriffs?
No.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrea. I appreciate your attendance. Sorry about the audio technical difficulties.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So as you saw from the packet, it's very lengthy. So I'm going to do my best to summarize this. So as you all know, over the past year and a half, we've taken a deep look at Parks and Recreation and Shelter Cove, what's working, what's not, and what's also possible. So what I'm going to be presenting this morning is a summarized complete Parks and Recreation strategic plan. So this isn't about overbuilding, this is about creating thoughtful, usable spaces, improving safety, and building a stronger, more connected community, while also supporting ecotourism in a way that fits Shelter Cove. So the core recommendation of structure is to make this happen, we're recommending dissolving the Parks and Rec Committee, move to a nonprofit supported working group, and then add a possible RID liaison or liaisons, two people that can work in between the nonprofit groups and RID, giving information and helping them work together cohesively. So we're going to start with the Parks and Recreation community spaces and experiences. So these projects are about creating places people actually want to spend time. So community food forest, a walkable, public, edible landscape designed like a natural ecosystem. People can learn about food and ecology, participate in planting and harvesting, bring kids for hands-on learning. This becomes a living classroom and gathering space and a unique feature that supports eco-education tourism. An eco putt-putt course, a mini golf course built into a landscape using driftwood, stone, and natural materials. Each hole reflects the coast like playing through Shelter Cove itself. It's fun, accessible, and something families will actually do, and it creates a small but steady revenue stream while adding a playful, creative tourism experience. Living playground and pump track, a nature-based playground made from logs, rocks, and sculptural elements paired with a pump track for bikes and movement. Not a plastic playground, this is something that feels like it will belong here. A place kids want to be, a place families can gather, a place that feels like Shelter Cove. And a big step towards being a family-friendly destination as well. Park-Apps program, so small picnic spaces placed throughout neighborhoods, especially in scenic unused areas. This is simple but powerful. It turns overlooked spaces into places people stop, sit, and connect, creates a network of quiet local gathering spots. A disc golf course, a low-impact course woven through natural landscape, minimal build, high use, attracts repeat visitors, connects people to land while recreating. This can also be used for fire breaks. This is exactly the kind of low-cost, high-value ecotourism activity that fits here. Golf and sports, improving what we have. We're not replacing, we're strengthening. So some of the improvements, fixed drainage and playability, improved turf and irrigation, add lessons, events, and programming. Make it something people actually use and want to return to. A bigger vision, a golf links assessment. We're recommending a full look at the property to explore expanded recreation, a multi-course or multi-use design. Integration with other activities. This is about unlocking the full potential of the land and increasing both use and revenue. Sports court, there's a lot of things on our list that was from a year and a half ago. Some things have already been implemented, some are going to be or they're in discussion. So I made this very brief. Essentially complete the infrastructure, clear use and access, long-term maintenance, make them functional, fair, and reliable for the community. Beaches, safety, and experience. Our coastline is one of our greatest assets and needs the most attention. So Little Black Sands is fixing unsafe parking and unstable trails, safer for locals, safer for visitors, protects the landscape while still allowing access. Coral Point, ADA access, creating a second accessible entry to the beach. So this is about equity and making our coastline available to more people. A whale watching park, a place to sit, slow down, and actually experience whale migration. With viewing areas, natural seating, educational signage. This becomes a true destination point and supports off-season ecotourism when whales are migrating. Trails, safety, and eco experience. These projects connect everything together. A Lower Cove walking loop, a defined walking route that keeps people off the airport. This is an immediate safety fix, everyday use, simple but also critical. Trail signage and eco map, clear, consistent trail markers and a full map of the area. People know where they are, emergency responses improves, visitors stay longer and explore more. Fire resilient trails, designing trails that also function as fire breaks and emergency access routes, recreation plus safety working together. Art walk trail, a walking trail activated with rotating outdoor art. This blends nature, creativity, and movement, supports local art, creates a unique and cultural ecotourism experience. The naming initiative, naming creeks, trails, and natural features, improves safety and navigation, strengthens identity, includes Indigenous consultation. The community center, the core hub of our community. This is one of our most important investments. And as we went through this, we kind of broke it down into 3 phases. And quite simply, phase 1 would be fixing the building, roof, leaks, mold. Phase 2 would be to make it safe and accessible. Phase 3 would be to imagine it as a true community hub with potential for healthcare services, childcare, wellness programming, events, and emergency use. Added improvements to be shared nonprofit storage, commercial kitchen upgrades, central vending system for recreational access. This becomes the heart of the community again. Events and ecotourism energy. This plan also builds experiences, not just infrastructure. So 4th of July, safer structure, expanded programming, maintain fireworks and controls. Whale Fest, a seasonal event tied to migration, which would also we would use the park in that sense too. Brings people to during the slower months, centers education, nature, and community. Art Walk Festival, a weekend experience built around the trail, art and nature and walking, supports artists and local businesses, positions Shelter Cove as a creative coastal destination. The big picture, this plan is designed to improve daily life for residents, create meaningful spaces, and support a type of tourism that fits here. Not high impact, not overbuilt, just thoughtful, nature-based community center growth. So final recommendations is adopting the strategic plan, dissolving the park and recs committee, move to working groups, add a reg liaison, beginning implementation. This gives us a real path forward. We spent a year and a half on this listening, walking sites, thinking through what actually makes sense here, and this plan reflects that. It's grounded, it's achievable, and it's built for Shelter Cove. A little update with Cove Connect 2, we recently just voted to amend our bylaws for our 501c3 and articles to support recreation with support of RITs. So showing that this strategic plan isn't just an idea, it's going to be reality. So let me know if you guys have any questions.
How much public feedback have you guys gotten on your ideas? You have a lot of attendance to your meetings and a lot of public feedback from people who live
I
here.
will say the town halls, we get bigger attendance because people are more able to attend those. I'm sure you guys have kind of had the same experience, but yeah, when it's later in the evening, we usually get, I think the lowest we've had in the evening was 18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 18 to 25, I think was the most we had for the town halls. The morning meetings, we don't get a lot. We get more people online.
Okay.
And then I'd also add that a lot of these discussions also formed around the survey that we did and focusing on what the higher respondents were asking for as well.
Okay.
And then also, you know, there may be some bigger projects that the community would like to see, and the board can add to this strategic plan if they like as well. This is just from the committee, and what we'll be bringing to the strategic plan workshop, so we can also discuss more ideas as well. I would like to just really thank Laura Ball and all of the past and present committee members for the participation. This was not an easy committee over the last year and a half, but we all have done our best, and also, you know, our intentions are to help grow the ecotourism within the community.
Yeah, thank you. This is really great. I really appreciate the work that you and the rest of the members of the board, not the board, but the committee did, past and present. It's great. There are a lot of great ideas in here, a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have thought of. You know, I would like to definitely spend some more time going into this and figuring out some of these different ideas. I particularly like some of the focus on building a space and then sort of an event around it, like the whale watch watching and stuff, I think would be great. You know, I've thought about that a lot too, just since coming here about, hey, what do we do when, you know, when we don't have a salmon season summer to support us and things like that, and like bringing in a whale watching group or, you know, making that more of a thing. I think that's really great ideas.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's a lot of great funding behind those too, so.
Yeah, I noticed that.
More
That was,
possible.
yeah, the report was great. And
Thank
included those different funding sources and those different ideas. It's really good.
Yeah, and anybody who hasn't read the full report, it really breaks everything down, where it's gonna come from, where the grants are, how we would apply, all of those things. So it's really great information. It was just 90 pages, so too much for to read.
Yeah, well, and it was great too, in that you kind of delineated some of the responsibilities for the groups as well. So
Great.
that was great.
Yeah, because you guys need help. You know, you've got infrastructure to focus on, and we do need parks and recreation. So how can the community help with make that a possibility, make that happen? And I think that's how we do it, is we work together. And this eliminates some of the craziness of trying to put together these committees and figuring out who to put on them. You know, the nonprofits can create these working groups and have the community volunteer, people that want to be a part of them. And I think that's going to be really strong.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to something I know that we've discussed in the past about the community center, where it was like, you know, rather than hiring someone to paint it, the community all gets together on the weekend and everybody stuff and made it cool after that. This is what you need to do. Let's rely on outside help. I did have a question about the liaison. Was your concept of having a liaison, the committee's concept of liaison, was that to be a board member? Was that to be a member of the public? Was that a member of the staff? What was the idea behind having it?
The idea behind that was essentially just one person or two people. It could be, we talked about having a board member being one, and then somebody from a nonprofit being the other, kind of heading that up, so then somebody from the board can communicate with you guys and keep you updated, while the other person kind of, you know, herds the non-committee hats, you know? So somebody kind of just make sure that things are getting on track and things are happening, and then, you know, coming here and then giving updates to the board, you know, once a month, of what's going on and where they're at in the progression.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. For
Yeah.
Making sure that.
That way you didn't have all these nonprofits here, each coming up and saying something would just be a little tiny something, kind of like what we do now. The committee would just do a shift. Yeah.
That's great, thank you.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Oh, thanks. All right, well, if there's another question.
Any other questions? Any other questions?
I just have a comment, and we can have further discussions on how, if we're gonna be looking at liaisonships or ad hoc committees, depending on which projects, you know, how they're gonna- like the trails might be more of a district ad hoc committee. And then, but like other things like the whale watching and, the ideas in here that obviously will need more help coming from nonprofits than we'll look at the liaisonships. So that we can have more discussions on that down the line as well.
And of course, the nonprofits will hold events too, like, you know, for the community center, we're thinking about holding an event for people coming to get their ideas of what they want to see, and we have free food and a barbecue, you know? So when we do these things, there will still be lots of community involvement of what they want to see, what they want to do, and how they want to participate and help make this happen too. Because it's for them, and they can help us make it happen, and that's why the nonprofits are here. So we can all do a lot of volunteer work and really make these things become reality.
So what is the next step after this? Is it like people need to come to the connect meetings, like, you know, kind of drill down which projects they, you know, what the community wants to see happen first, or?
Well, that's one of the great things about Cove Connect. So how we're already structured and how we've been structured is every single meeting we ask the representatives from each nonprofit to come and give an update. And that's half of our meetings. So if everyone actually came and did that, that would be great for not only Cove Connect, but it would be great for this initiative, where we could all get together and discuss these projects for the ladies on, whoever that would be, and then we can come back and get that information.
Okay.
Instead of 7 committee meetings a month, you know, this would be a lot easier for everyone. Yeah.
Okay, so kind of the next Cove Connect
Yeah.
is kind of like after we see this packet, like when is the next one?
So it's the second Thursday of every month at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the most important part is really the grant writing. I think that's the initiative it has to be taken
Absolutely.
as soon as we can get it going, because without that, it's the focus of the grant writing.
Mhm.
It's gonna make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a great grant writer in Coconut. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the next step, though, as far as we're concerned, is integrating these ideas into our strategic plan.
Mhm.
And so then that would then lead to, okay, what resources are we going to use for this?
And also, I think a good example on how these may start to play out too is like with the 4th of July celebration that Scarlet is spearheading. I think this will be a good way of showing the community and the district that we can work together in changing culture, and also making sure that we are doing things appropriately. Like even like some of these smaller projects, like they look like, oh, super easy and we'll just be able to work them out. But as a public agency, we will be needing to file for all the proper permits, making sure that we're abiding by all the association laws, and they will all take time. Even the smaller ones will take time. So, we just need to be patient and then just keep on task on, I think the strategic plan will be looking at what is doable, what the priorities are. Maybe the smaller ones, the food forest might be an easier one to start with, as well as the 4th of July one, and moving on from there. And then I'd be interested to hear what Steph has to say.
Well, we're definitely going to pursue some of these options, especially the community center. We really want to focus on getting that up to speed. But also, I want to accentuate if you can speak a little closer into your mics. The audio is very difficult. And after this item, I'd like to take a brief session break to we have an audio fix that we want to try before we continue, because there's going to be some back and forth on future items that will make it very difficult with online folks.
Okay. Yeah, is there any public comment on this topic?
I just want to reiterate, that's just the first example of asking for stuff from the 501c3s, and we asked for one thing this weekend, a well-maintained golf course. I hope we get it, but I just want to make sure that you guys are hearing what I'm hearing.
Gotcha, thank you, Wendy.
And with the golf course in particular, we are, in our recommendation, it is to come up with a maintenance plan and making sure that we're on top of that for events. There has been, and this week, it is my understanding that they have been working on the golf course. We just went through some storms, so they can't mow during the storms. And so they currently are doing that, and I would, go ahead and check it out.
I guess that it rained on Saturday and Sunday this week. There were 3 solid weeks after the Irish games where the course could have been mowed if there was a little bit of attention, a little bit of want. I feel so bad. I've been driving myself hell and gone telling people how great this golf course is, and I look like an idiot. It's not great.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet, so.
Thank you, Wendy.
It hasn't.
All right.
What hasn't happened yet? The mowing or the course?
The event.
Neither.
Event, it'll happen in the event.
Okay.
Our
Okay.
staff is,
Let's move on. Chris, district strategic planning.
Yeah, before that item, I think I'd like to do
Oh,
just a quick, just like 5-minute break, just so we can resolve our audio
5-minute
issues.
recess.
Okay. All right, turn the microphone off.
There you go. All right, that's working. It's the laptop. I don't know if it's the USB on that laptop or what, but that laptop is not allowing audio. Yours is working. When I put it on this laptop, they'll be able to hear better through there, but you still have to mute it on your. When you're talking, you have to mute it. No, it's because they'll be able to hear way better. It has an 8.
I'm gonna say maybe.
It's such a slugging like it. Yeah, you just have to remember when you talk. Yeah, the county literally has a guy who sits there and changes the cameras, changes the audio.
It's hard reading.
The problem was we were stored on his computer mic before that, because that was plugged into the back one. We didn't have but with the bigger microphone. Because we were using a laptop mic and he used that.
Back live? All right, call this meeting back to order, 9:48. District strategic planning, Chris?
Yeah, so provide an update on that. So since the previous board meeting, staff have attended multiple online planning meetings with the consultant strategic plan facilitator in preparation for the 2-day workshop. This workshop was originally scheduled for Friday and Saturday, May 8th and 9th, but will need to be postponed to Friday and Saturday, May 29th and 30th, so that all board members and management staff can attend. As a reminder, the 2-day workshop will focus on refining the district's strategic plan while serving as a team building exercise. So right now, there's been a lot of behind the scenes meetings, especially with me and Hillary Strauss, the facilitator. Kind of, as he puts it, baking the cake to 70%, so that when we get into our 2-day workshop, we can just wrap it up and also have a good time, I guess, while we're doing it.
Okay. Now this Saturday, so it's Friday and Saturday, so the staff are going to swap a regular day and there won't be overtime, correct?
Well, I don't know if I can enforce that, but that was my suggestion. I mean, I don't know if I.
Strongly suggest.
I mean, that would be ideal, but with certain operations that have to be done basically every day, it's
Right.
difficult. But
Okay, we'll do your best.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Go ahead.
Well, I just was wondering if you could speak a little bit more to, what the meetings have been with Hillary. So you're just kind of putting together the strategic plans that we've been working on for the last couple of years and kind of figuring that out. Is that what you've been doing, or?
Yeah. Basically, what we've been looking at the last couple of years, basically a 33-page document divided up, the plans divided up by department. And what we've done is we've kind of narrowed it down to 1 year or 3-year plans, 1-year objective, or vice versa, and putting a lot of things that we want, kind of as he puts it, in the parking lot, like the things that will cost more, for instance, or don't have the funding for right now. So those are going on sort of the back burner, and we're looking at what we can actually do now, whittling it down to just about 4 goals and 5 objectives per goal, instead of each department with multiple things.
So this will really be helping us prioritize our list of to-dos,
Yeah,
so to speak.
and then we accomplish things, and the parking lot items come back into the next 3-year goals.
Okay, so we'll be setting up kind of a 3-year strategic plan sort of system for the next 6 or 9 years or so, and then.
Yeah. And I know he wants to, he talked about scheduling one-on-one interviews with each board member too, so I think he's probably reached out to you, or I'm not sure, maybe not yet. Knowing I gave him your contact information.
I've reached out to him and waiting to hear back.
Okay.
I think it would also be nice, even with the short term, but also coming up with that 10-year strategic plan. Let him know that we're interested in that as well. So it's not just the next 3 years, but also.
Has he seen the Parks and Rec plan that we were just looking at as well?
No, not that one.
Is the intention to give that to him?
Yeah, I could.
I mean, if you've given him all the other plans, I think
Yeah.
that'd be helpful.
Anybody else?
I like the idea of keeping it focused, because it allows us to see what's achievable in the short term. I think that it's, I like the focus. And I think that, knowing that we've seen him in action, I think he can bring some really valid points for us as a board. I think it's going to be a great opportunity.
All right. Nick?
Yeah, so I went into these meetings a little bit skeptical of taking strategic planning classes. We're in year 4 of our current 5-year plan. This is very worthwhile. So the way he's presenting the class, just the workshop that we did, is very modern and it's to the point, it's organized. I think part of our current strategic planning problem is we're mixing up the strategic plan and the capital improvement and the project plan all into one. Right, so this is just strategic plan focus, which will then allow us to move on to those project plans in a more efficient and organized way. And I think the way he brought the crew in, starting from the mission statement, he reviewed our vision statement to compare it to other likewise municipalities and utility companies. I think it is going to be good. And then the money we're saving, I can't put a number on it, but I know if we brought in a private consultant for the same amount of time that he's putting into it, regardless of overtime costs, I think we're going to come out on top if we actually stick to this plan. This is I think our second technically strategic plan's been put on paper since I've been around the RID, and I don't think we knocked out a single one of our objectives on the last one. And so there was some stuff that we started. You can arguably say that we got through a couple of the things in there, but they were never actually fully completed. That I can show you a document saying, here's how the project went. Here's to review it, the cost. And I think this is starting us on that trajectory. So I'm excited about it, and I think it's definitely worthwhile.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
Nick.
thanks, Nick. That's really helpful because I mean, I was super impressed with Hillary when we met him, and he's very committed, not just to the like the strategic plan idea, but making small community organizations work and figuring out solutions to things and making it so that everybody's on the same page and everybody can get going forward. So I'm glad that hopefully the rest of the departments are kind of coming together in the same way.
It's hard because it is like setting up the blueprints. We're not going to see initial results right away, but we need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, his experience is phenomenal too. I mean, he's always done it, and he's into it.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting time, I think.
And the reason he wanted it on a Friday and Saturday is we're working around his full-time schedule too. He's a general manager down there in the Folsom area, so it's pretty busy too.
Oh, my people.
Yeah.
All right. Can we move on to public comment? Public comment on the strategic planning?
Hey, Chris, I think I heard maybe a month or two ago, you made an announcement saying that you had talked to Cal Poly and Sacramento State about making a post for their park and rec majors and their 1,000 required hours of community service. Have you heard back from any of them, or have you checked in on that posting, or what's going on with that? Because I think that's really cool that you did that.
Nobody has reached out to me on that yet. I did sign the agreement to make us available for an intern from the Cal State system.
That's a great idea.
So if there's someone who wants to work out here, they'll reach out, and we have to work with them and create sort of a work plan for them and monitor their progress. It adds a little extra work for us to do that, but the reward could be really great. So I made it available. It just depends on if someone can come out here and someone is willing to do it.
Maybe some people that want to be grant writers.
Yeah.
Might be great. Okay.
I found it on the website of both of the universities.
Great. All right. No more public comment on the topic of strategic plan. Let's move on. Sports court update, Chris.
All right, so yeah, that was a pretty busy month in sports court. Just the background, according to the contract for this project, completion is scheduled by July 27th. Since the last board meeting, the contractor, Benson Dakota McMahon Construction, completed the concrete pours for the main pad, the sidewalk on the east side of the court, and the ADA parking area. Staff have also kept pace with goals for completion of the project. We purchased and received 2 basketball hoops and 2 portable pickleball nets. We relocated the horseshoe pits in time for their use at the Irish games last month. And we worked with the district's risk management insurance provider, GSRMA, to create and purchase rules signage for the courts. And we've also procured a contract from a contractor for perimeter fencing, which is scheduled actually next week, although I know there's some weather, so I might put it off, see what happens. Volunteers have also been helping a lot with this project. One person, Kurt Odra, he purchased a basketball court stencil kit for us. We can use it up to 20 times. It'll make it really easy to paint the lines. And I believe the pickleball club has purchased the pickleball court stencil kit, or they're planning to. So that'll really help. And we'll hopefully, Benson Dakota McMahon Construction said they could help out with the painting. They said probably late May on the lines. And you can see the budget outlook here on the report. We pretty much break even at this point. We have only about $400 left for the surfacing material, landscaping, etc. Some of these added costs may need further budget approval in the next fiscal year. So some of that might get put off. The material, I think, will be okay. So for the paint marking. think we can get that by on that. Next steps are to procure material and coordinate volunteer labor or the contractor to apply paint for the court surfacing. Like as I said, Ben McMahon may be able to help on that. He said he would help. Staff will also need to coordinate the installation of an ADA accessible portable toilet at the site and remove the other nearby portable toilet at the airplane parking area. And finally, staff will need to create or revise an existing policy that will guide the usage of the court. Are there any questions on the update?
No, for me.
So the court will be open July, what was it, 22nd? Or like when do you think they'll be able to like play on it?
I'm thinking by the end of May.
Oh, okay, cool.
Next week, if we get the fencing in, and then Ben said he was going to help with putting in the basketball hoops, and then the lines will be painted in late May.
Okay.
So, I mean, you could probably play on them without the lines being painted on yet. So maybe sometime next month.
Okay, cool.
And Ben still needs to finish the painting of the ADA area, parking area, which is, he said next week, but I do see there's weather, rain in the forecast beginning next week. We'll see if we can make it by the end of the week.
All right. I had a question too. You were talking about need to create or revise an existing policy that will guide the usage of the court.
Yeah.
What would that policy look like?
We updated the policy, the kind of like the fee use policy. I'm not sure if we would do that for that. Sort of just a rule, like rules policy or usage policy for the court. So it'd be like how many people can be on the court or when it can be used. Sort of like what the rule sign is, but in a policy format. And then what was stipulated in the permit spelled out. And then if people want to reserve the court, how does that process work? That kind of information.
Okay, cool. All right, sounds good.
Anybody else? No? We can move on to public comment. Public comment on the sports court update? Jack?
Good morning, everybody. Fantastic to see the sports court up and everything going. I was just curious. I know the plan is to start with an ADA portable toilet. Just curious if we have plans, in the near future to kind of start developing for a permanent structure, because I know those things. I've seen the bills. Those are like $500 or something a month. You figure after a year or two of paying that should be able to pay for a permanent facility. So I'd really like to see if we could put some energy towards, getting some kind of a permanent facility down there. So we're not just kind of chucking money down into a rental hole. So, all right, thank you. But fantastic to see everything going.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would actually totally agree with Jack. I think there's such demand for a real bathroom down there for the airport, the sports court, the golfers. It's like the de facto bathroom is if the clubhouse is open or JIPO. And that's unfair to put that much on one business. And yeah, we do need to look into doing a real bathroom down there. So I don't know if that has to be put in the budget for next year or how we put that in capital improvement, but I think that should definitely be something coming up really soon.
All right. Well, let's move on. Special tax increase proposal update.
All right. What was expected to be discussed today was we had a discussion about potential airport closure for use of the courts in August, and you said that was going to be on the agenda today. Is that now or later or what? Or did that not get on?
No, we did not put that on the agenda.
Okay.
Not today, but we can discuss it, I guess, as part of the sports court discussion update. What he's referring to is there's a pickleball tournament scheduled for August 1st and 2nd, and they would like to use the sports court. However, we have, as our permit has stated, there is to be no scheduled events or not, doesn't say tournaments, but scheduled events or league activities.
Right.
Yeah. So there are options of still conducting that operation on the court. Basically, closing the airport is one option.
So closing the airport for a weekend?
Well, for the hours and the court play will be conducted.
All morning.
Unnecessary.
Huh, okay.
Totally unnecessary. I mean, no one's worrying about the golfers.
If we could,
No one's worrying about the golfers.
if we could have people come up to the podium, that would be great. And also, I think it's, I guess, reaching out to the FAA and seeing what's acceptable and how those airport closures, if that's doable, then that should work. But seeing how that looks and then having it come back before the board.
I think if we're gonna have a discussion, that it probably needs to be agendized so that the public can know that
Yeah,
we're gonna be
absolutely.
discussing this issue.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
It's in
Yeah.
that policy that you guys just discussed, right? So that's something that's gonna be in there. We discussed using the golf or the clubhouse rental as well. So the clubhouse has a much higher occupancy load on its permit. So theoretically, if you were to rent the clubhouse, you can have your event there and then keep the number of people playing pickleball to how many the court can actually fit. Right? If there's 4 people on each court playing at the same time, the parking lot is part of the clubhouse. Right now, we have no policy for that. So that will be something that we'll have to go to the board in order to fix that. The FAA thing is a long shot. That's another option. They can close airports down for air shows and other things. I don't know what the FAA is going to say if that's going to be something they approve, as these guys said on a weekend. And then also too, it's the board's got to discuss what does that do to the tourism coming in versus what the pickleball tournament is. However, I do think the use of the community center is a good option. We just don't have the means for that right now in policy.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think there are some options. That's why I'd like to have a better idea, a chance to look at it rather than just kind of getting it. Hey, here's what we're doing.
Okay.
Is there a public comment for this?
Yes.
Okay, you go first. I forgot.
Yeah.
I just want to say that this is a perfect opportunity for the board to, it's a pickleball tournament that's happening, and to make it as easy for them to be able to do this and just have them do it at the clubhouse. We don't need to get the FAA involved to shut down the airport. We still have people coming in, like for our business, we get a lot of people in August flying in. And so I just feel like this is a really good opportunity for you guys to be supporting nonprofits that are trying to put on events.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Julie. Wendy?
That being said, I will say that this is the moneymaker for the pickleball club. So if you're looking at rolling out things to the 501c3s to help out the community, we're going to need a little bit of money to do that. And we make a little bit of money on this pickleball tournament. So it would be helpful if we could have our pickleball tournament. Thanks.
Thanks. All right. Let's move on, Chris.
Okay, so discussion item 5 is the special tax increase proposal update. So since the last board meeting, the GM reviewed and approved the argument for Measure A to print in the County Office of Elections Voter Information Guide. There was no submittal of an argument against Measure A, so there will be no need for a rebuttal. The ballot is set to go to the voters during the week of May 4th. You may have seen some yes on A signs out there, donor created. Staff also created an informational flyer, which is attached. Next step is to schedule a special board meeting, possibly in the evening during the last week of April, to help better inform and answer questions from registered voters about the measure. Tentatively, I'm hoping we can do this Thursday, April 30th at 6 p.m. And I think everyone's, I know I've sent out an invitation for that. Does that work for everyone on the board?
Thursday. What time?
6 p.m.
Not myself.
Okay. I shouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah.
And I was just curious about that. So who answers the questions? Is it us or is it you?
Yeah, that was
Is
my.
that one of the reasons? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no,
Is
that,
that
like,
one of the
what's the-
reasons we
what's the
have to be
format?
here?
Yeah, what's the format of the meeting
I feel
gonna
like
be?
it's more something that it's like you tell us what our ID needs. Like,
Yeah. Well,
Maybe a town hall?
Yeah, is it a town hall? Is it a
That's, I guess, what I was
special
thinking.
board meeting, or how are we
I was
structuring it?
thinking more of along the lines of the public being able to ask questions.
Yeah, questions and answers. That's, yeah.
yeah, I was just wondering who's answering the question. You?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, I can
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, if you don't think it's is it even necessary then, or is this good enough for these updates?
I mean, I would like to see a town hall where we can answer the public's questions about this. A lot of people are very negative about a tax increase, and even when I convey to them, 60 a month or 60 a year, they just don't like the idea of a tax increase, and we have to spell it out for them. I think so it's clearer for some people. Once you hear tax, they just shut down. They don't care. They don't want taxes. No. So it's been a little frustrating for me talking to people around here and trying to convince them. I mean, 90% of the time I get positive feedback, but the 10% is very extremely negative. So.
This is an alternative to rate increases.
Correct.
So we don't
Correct.
have to really go to just the resident ratepayers. This affects all.
And that's not fair
3,800
either.
property owners.
Yeah, everyone who owns property is vested into the Cove's infrastructure, so one way or another.
Yeah, that's why I definitely think we need to do it too. It's just so people feel informed. Otherwise, there is this sometimes, and vibe where we give off where we don't really care. We're making the decisions. It doesn't matter. And I feel like that is also what we just did to Wendy by not prioritizing her event and the nonprofits. And so if we don't have this town hall, people are going to feel uninformed. I feel uninformed. I still have not seen one of these flyers anywhere in Shelter Cove. I have not seen anything online except for what I posted on Facebook. That kind of frustrates me. How are we supposed to get people to be aware if it's not there? And even this flyer is great, but why can't we just say who pays? That should be at the top. I'm a little, so we do need to have this town hall, even if it's not a well attended, at least we're trying. We have to look like we're trying, because otherwise it looks like we're leaving people in the dark,
And people want to be heard.
Yes, they do want to be heard. And we can tell them why this one's actually fair, and then they can pass it on to their friends. And that's the one thing I feel Mike. I've been talking to a lot of people, and it feels like I'm barely disseminating information, where it's I think RID needs to actually be there. I feel like sometimes people think, oh, you're on the board, so of course you're going to be for it.
Well,
and it's well, no, this is really going to be good for everyone.
The district has to watch how much they promote this. We've got to kind of step back from it a little bit and let it happen. Our job as board members are to go out and talk to the community and get that feedback and promote this.
I get that. Yeah, I'm not saying, oh, they need to do it, but just who pays? I feel that would be such an easy one. This would affect everyone equally. So it's oh, okay, that kind of tax.
Right.
I don't see any downside. I think the more marketing of this tax is in the best interest of the community. I think that it shouldn't be just one. It should be continued until the vote, so that people can be informed. I don't know that you just have one at the end of April. I think you have one in May and till the vote. So that's the only way we're gonna really stress how valuable it is to our community.
But we need to get it by the cutoff of the mail when they're mailing out the ballots. Because people vote usually pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I vote right away, which I never did when I was younger. But now I'm oh, okay, this is what. Otherwise, you don't send it in time. You're driving to Eureka.
What I'm wondering,
sorry to interrupt.
what I'm wondering is if we could get these educational pamphlets out to the general store and see which businesses would be willing to have these available as well.
We have a business owner right here. We could ask her.
I'll give you mine. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but to some of the point, right? I think doing it in a town hall format would be best.
Yeah.
That was going to be my suggestion, so that we can answer questions and interact directly with the public without Brown Act considerations, that are the same district, because we aren't supposed to be going back and forth with the public at these meetings. And so, but yeah, and then the other problem is that RIG can't take a political position.
Right.
And so we can just put out information.
So then they can't answer questions at the town hall meeting?
Oh, no, we can answer questions about it, but we can't say you have to vote this way. Or,
oh, no, I get that. I'm just saying, people need to know what this is actually about.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying they need to do anything. I'm saying facts. It will be for every property owner. I mean, even just that right there is like a huge to
Can we
me.
send this out with the bill next month? Are we allowed to do that even?
I don't know if we are.
It's educational. I would think so. It's teetering, but I think it's okay.
Maybe we put educational or something and label it.
Purely for educational purposes.
This is only.
I'd like to hear what Julie has to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to give, kind of kudos to Chris, because I don't know if you guys know, but there's a mixer tomorrow at Chima, and Chris is part of that mixer is meeting a new business that's coming into town, but also Chris is speaking about this at the mixer.
Oh.
And so there's information that's out there, so I just wanted to take it up. Thanks for going and doing that.
Julie.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should have told me that.
Yeah,
You should have been like, Tristan, I'm speaking tomorrow. Like, slow it down.
Wes embarrassed me on the radio last month.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like, I'm
come on,
checking
Tristan,
boxes.
we're doing stuff.
Stop.
All right. Any other board members? Anything to say about it?
Is there, I know that we had talked about doing the radio show again next month. Have you reached out to the gentleman to be on that? I know we can't have our whole own spot because we're not a nonprofit, but reaching out to Bud, I think would be great.
Oh, I will. Yeah. I have not-
Bud told me he did, he's fine with it a couple of different times.
Yeah. And he seemed pretty happy with us when we were there.
Such a funny guy. All right. Jack, what do you got?
I actually I heard you say about putting that in the mailer. It may be a good idea, but just so you know, May 4th is when the ballots come out. And people won't get their bills until probably like the 15th or something like that. So we've already missed that that fall to get it ahead of time. But yeah, just keeping that in mind for doing any of the town halls. I think it's great. Unfortunately, Laura left and everything. I think it would be really good if the nonprofits, because the nonprofits are the ones who can really push this. They can take kind of a political zone. That's what all those political ads. That's why they have these PACs and everything else. Because the government itself can't promote these bills. So they have these PACs that actually do it.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, if our nonprofits could kind of be, tooting the horn here as well, because they're asking a lot from RID often. You know, we're talking constantly about how this is a symbiotic relationship, and that's part of that symbiosis is, them promoting RID when RID needs it. So
I'm working the event this weekend, representing the lighthouse for the golf tournament. So I'll have a couple of these with me and talk about it to people as they come by, the golfers.
Yeah. And I honestly, I haven't seen it around the community, although I don't go far between the store and here in my house. So I'm not a good one to judge on that. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be good if, if we had some of the nonprofits just kind of banging the drum a little bit for us and getting the word out. So yeah, but cool. Yeah, I just wanted to remind you of the dates and stuff because I did just see that yesterday that May 4th is when the ballots are set to go out.
Perfect. Thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
And if I could get a few extra of these, I'll put them down at the lighthouse too. Yeah, lighthouse, and then for the event this weekend. Anybody else? No? Done with public comment? Let's move on. Presentation of the water tank and water treatment plant replacement draft preliminary engineering reports.
Right. Yes, so it's been going on for almost 2 years now. The district has been working with EPA-funded engineers at Cadmus, Jacobs, and Moonshot Missions on the recommended replacement of 4 of the oldest water tanks, Wes, Dick, John, and Omar, and the water treatment plant. So the attached draft preliminary engineering reports summarize their alternatives, analyses, and associated costs for these replacements. And we looked at the idea of, can we retrofit the water tanks, make them seismically compliant, and the cost analysis and the feasibility of that did not seem it would pay itself out. So replacement was recommended for the water tanks, which is what we did a couple years back for 6 of our other welded steel water tanks. Actually, in some cases, redwood tanks in that case. And then the water treatment plant replacement recommendation coincided with the Cal Poly Humboldt engineering students' recommendation of a packaged water treatment plant versus retrofitting or trying to overhaul the water plant. And so, just as a reminder, this sort of infrastructure has a lifespan. It's usually around 50 years, and right now everything's 60 plus years that we're looking at. So we're on the far end of the lifespan for this equipment. And as we all know, 3 of those water tanks suffered damage in the 2024 earthquake. One of them, John Tank, is some pretty scary looking elephant bulging at the bottom. It looks like the steel's about to just burst. And the water plant, I know it's much corrosion. And I think the way they have to operate the water plant is not the way it should be operated. And so we really want to try to prioritize these projects as we go forward, especially with our special tax. That income, or that revenue, I'm hoping would help with either an in-kind portion of a loan or just any other components of these projects. So I also have online, there's graciously some of the engineers that opted to join from all these organizations, and they can help answer any questions that you may have. So, are there any questions?
I don't have any. Anybody else?
I'm a little embarrassed that we've had so many technical difficulties with these engineers on the line. So I just want to thank them for their patience and for being here. For sure, these are some pretty thorough reports. I did have some questions for Moonshot Missions. I don't know if this fits into kind of where we were, but last month we were talking about a loan and certain portions of the loan potentially being forgiven or for being paid back, or the loan not, being kind of treated almost more as a grant. And I was curious about learn a little bit more how that work and other grants that are out there. And I know later on, Chris, I was going to talk to you. I know you were looking at some of the other grant writers that we'd spoken to about helping out here and if they're working together and what that looks like.
Okay. Before I pass off to Joey with Moonshot Missions, I came to offer the DWSRF loan. Right now they are prioritizing failing systems for grant funding, and we are not classified as a failing system. We're classified as not at risk.
Okay.
And that's basically because we meet all of our water quality parameters. We don't fail, we have no violations basically in our water quality. So, and regarding loans, they are kind of prioritizing construction loans versus planning loans, which is what we were looking at. But they encouraged us, we can still apply and still see what happens with that particular funding. State revolving fund. But I'll go ahead and pass it off to Joy. But Joy, let me warn you, I have to mute my computer and so there might be an echo for a minute. Oh, okay. Go ahead and try. We'll see if it works. Joy.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? So audio okay?
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Perfect. So yes, nice to virtually be here today. As Chris had stated, so for Moonshot Missions, we really have done a deep dive into all of the available funding opportunities that are out there right now for the state of California. For the planning and design for both the water treatment plant and the 4 storage tanks. So that will include the procurement of an engineer, the official engineering documents and design, and any associated permits. That's what would be included in this step. The best option currently is to go with a low interest loan through the state revolving fund, which is the DWSRF. It is a program specifically designed for water and wastewater utilities, which offers you the lowest interest rate you can get. While they are prioritizing projects associated that are ready for construction, there is still funds available and very high odds of getting an approved loan through the state for the planning activities. And again, what is really good about the SRF program is, as a district, you can choose to move forward in the application process, see what the loan, like the final loan terms will be, see if there will be the opportunity for principal forgiveness before you say yes and accept any loan from them. So the application process is fairly lengthy, but the state does a very good job at working with the districts and making sure that the terms are favorable to utilities. And at the end, if it is something you guys are uncomfortable, you can say, no, we can't do this right now, or you could elect to scale down the project and focus on design of 1 or 2 tanks instead of all 4. So it has flexibility built into the application process, but with the application process being fairly lengthy, it is good to keep the ball rolling and moving on it, which Chris has been working diligently on. After design is completed for the treatment plant and the 4 tanks, that does open up some more opportunities for funding, because there are a lot of sources out there. One that we found that could be a potential good fit in the future is the Community Development Block Grant, which the district would complete in conjunction with Humboldt County. And that program is 100% grant funds. It is highly competitive, and projects do have to be shovel ready for construction.
That's why the planning loan, I guess, lack of a better term, is a priority so that we can be shovel ready. That's how I understand it.
And in addition, real quick, as a backup to the SRF program, USDA also has some really good low interest loan programs that are available for planning and design. They are typically at a slightly higher interest rate than the SRF program, but it's still lower than what you can get at your normal bank when you go in for a loan.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think there was a question about the other grant writing group that we were working with, ESS. We're kind of focusing on them with the AMI water meter technology. I don't know, Travis, you've got anything to expand on that, but we're kind of looking at trying to replace our water meters with that group, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so they haven't looked at this project at all yet. Okay.
I've given it to them via email just so they can look, see what we're doing and how we're conducting things. But,
Okay, and Travis, you can get to that later. You can talk about it later. But yeah, I just wanted to know if they were involved in this process. Okay. All right.
I just wanted to say it's a really good report. I read through it, and definitely I tentatively agree with alternative 2 with the replacement of all 4 tanks, and then the package plant for replacing the water treatment plant. The other options, while they were a little bit cheaper, they really required just as much work and not quite as long of lifespans. So if we were doing it, it would, I think, behoove the community to just get new. Everything's like 60 years old.
It's not that much more.
And I was kind of curious, and I spoke with you about this a little bit this morning, Chris, is if we're not, just worst case scenario, if we weren't able to get grants, like it may be a bond. I know we did a bond for the wastewater treatment plant. It's not ideal, but it is, something that we could look into in case we're not prioritized with the grants.
What are the odds on the principal forgiveness?
Well, I'm not hearing good odds from the state on that one.
No, but I mean, she said if we applied for the loan and then we got the loan, but there was a possibility that we could do. What does that entail? What does that look like?
That is a great question. And unfortunately, you don't really know the answer to that until you're further along into the loan process. It's still before you agree and say, like, yes, we will accept this. But it's once the application has been fully submitted and you are assigned a project manager from the state in your application. Chris is correct, where unfortunately the odds for Shelter Cove receiving principal forgiveness are not very high. In the state of California, I realize it's not the best system, but they are doing the best they can. And with there being so many failing utilities throughout the state of California, like we are talking about utilities where they're in kind of like an emergency response on a daily basis. The grant funds are being prioritized for those systems, which then does make it difficult for systems such as the district, which are working to be proactive, to not end up in that situation. So that's kind of where the catch-22 is, which makes it difficult. So I can't say if there will be any or what the principal forgiveness would be, just that there is the possibility of it, but that's not one that I would like count on. I'd be prepared to not have it.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with Tesha. I think, you know, the cost difference for refurbishing versus getting brand new seems to really lean towards brand new. And I appreciated the thoroughness of the options for the water treatment plant as well. It seems like the desalinization is probably not going to work, but that was kind of cool that they at least looked into that. And and it's interesting that they came to the same conclusion as the students. So.
You know, I think the biggest difference that I was actually happy about is the analysis showed that the package plant could fit within the footprint of the existing plant versus having to move it outside the whole yard area, which is what
the students said. Yeah.
And I wanted to share real quick, just for your reference, the website that the water boards gave me to show failing systems. Just give me 1 second. So you can see on this map, all the red dots are failing systems in the state. You can just tell we're kind of a small green dot up here in the corner, but there's a lot of failing systems like they were saying. So those are the priorities for the grants. And so that's what we're up against.
The Central Valley is just devastated.
So Travis and Frank have been doing too good of a job.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
We appreciate that. Yeah.
I would like to hear from staff on their thoughts about what's being presented today.
Yeah, do you have anything to add to Travis on these reports as far as the water department aspect?
No, they're just they're right in line with Cal Poly. It's hard because what we have is broken right now, so we got to fix it. And, we're open to everything right now. Basically, I don't see how our SCADA system not being functional at all that we're considered good though. I don't understand that at all. I think something was written down on paperwork and submitted that doesn't line up. But it doesn't make sense with me. Operationally, we don't even have a SCADA system. And running with a very limited staff just doesn't line up.
Right.
Well, can either the engineers or Moonshot Missions maybe help with the explanation? Why is it that if we have a failing SCADA system and are understaffed that we're still considered not a failing system?
I think the water boards kind of just look at the bottom line. Do we have violations, boil water notices, parameters that are exceeding the maximum contaminant levels, things like that, and we don't. That's where we're kind of keeping the system afloat, but behind the scenes we are struggling. But we are not on paper violating our water quality parameters, which is really what they look for.
So what, bottom line, to go through the planning phase so that we're prepared to be, quote, shovel ready.
Yeah.
What are the dollars that we're talking about as far as the low interest cost of loan? What's the debt ratio? What's I need to know more. I mean, I appreciate the package. It's very well done, right? And the different alternatives, but nuts and bolts. What's the dollar amount that we're talking about? What's the debt? And again, if we're talking about the principal,
yeah.
What's that debt ratio going to be? And nuts and bolts. I want to see money.
I believe for instance, I believe the water treatment plant replacement is estimated at 6.4 million, I believe, and then the 4 water tanks for I think
No, understand that, but I'm talking about just the engineering initial planning phase that we're talking about getting a loan for.
We, on the DWSRF loan, I think it was somewhere around 700,000, I think, for planning. Is that correct, Joy? I'm not sure if you remember.
I would have to double check. I know in the cost estimates, there should, for both the new plant and the tanks, there should be a line item for those engineering design costs. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. So like all of those details and the nuts and bolts, we will get that information as we continue down the application process. And again, applying does not mean you are saying yes to a loan. It means that you are going down the path to figure out if you want to say yes, to figure out all those details. I know the interest rate for SRF in California right now, the last time I checked, I believe it's at 2.5%, give or take. I would have to verify that, so don't quote me on it. That's just from what I recall the last time I checked. But all those nuts and bolts, that's what we're working on right now with Chris to figure out, to make sure you have all those terms and that understanding before you guys would actually accept a loan.
Yeah, and so Jeff, too, I think the cost that you're talking about, I'm just looking at the wastewater treatment plant, or the water treatment plant, not the tanks. And the engineer can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's on page 29, after where it says total estimated construction costs, the remaining costs there are the permitting, engineering design, services during construction. And if I understand this correctly, those are the costs that we're going to need to get the loan for in order to get it shovel ready.
Well, again, if the engineering design alone is 586,000.
Yeah.
So we're talking before 700,000. So again, those have to be refined. And so I appreciate the breakdown, but to have them refined and talk actually money debt ratio, what Red has to come up with every month to pay that debt ratio to move forward. That's what I want to know. I mean, I appreciate an estimate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty significant amount, because we're not talking just the 580.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It looks like over $1 million.
Over $1 million.
Just in planning costs to get it shovel ready.
Exactly. That's my problem.
Yeah.
I guess another question is, if we're looking at something like this, I mean, do we contact alternatives too? I mean, or do you just, I'm not sure exactly how this works. I mean, I guess just from my point of view, maybe we should have contact another, and no offense, yeah, this is an amazing breakdown. Now that we have an idea of our scope, can we also like get another bid or another idea of, you know, this might be it. It might be 700, and that's something we'll have to accept, or $1 million or whatever. But do we also put, do we get an idea of the amount from someone else, or, you know? Is that
So, right, those cost estimates right now, they are high level budgetary cost estimates. And that is what the engineering firm with Jacobs was able to determine based off of kind of like known current cost. And they do typically at this point factor in a higher level of contingency and assume kind of that higher estimated cost. Because again, it is just preliminary. The district is not at the point right now where you are going out and submitting requests for proposals and quotes from engineering firms to get those detailed cost estimates and what it would cost. That's still a couple steps down the line. But those cost estimates are there to kind of give a realistic, higher end cost estimate. Odds are that it'll typically come in a little bit lower when you do get those refined costs and actually send out for bids. But right now, going through kind of an application process and a planning process, planning will probably take at minimum about a year, year and a half. And then construction after that, depending on what it is you're constructing, I would give it 6 to 9 months, and that's excluding applying for additional funding for construction when you get to that point. So right now, it is important to remember that those costs in that report in front of you are preliminary. They are estimates. And so odds are that it could be a little bit lower once we start getting to the point where we're getting those actual bids from potential contractors.
Yeah, so basically, we're just not further enough down the road yet to get those nuts and bolts. So this is just part of that process.
Yeah, we don't even know the interest rate yet.
Yeah.
That will affect our.
How accurate are your estimates usually? Do you have an idea on these projects when you present these? How close your estimates typically are?
Jacobs, can I pass that one over to you?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, thanks. So what you have is what we call a class 5 estimate, and that's the highest level of estimate. A class 1 estimate is when you have a bid from a contractor. Now, as engineers, we don't provide bid numbers. We're just providing estimates. So we want to be careful when we say, can we get a better bid? We're not going to build this for you. We're estimating. And the way the class 5 estimate works, it's got a very broad range of accuracy. It could be minus 50%, meaning 50% cheaper, or 100% more expensive. So it's very planning level, as Joy was describing. The way to get a better cost estimate is the estimate advances in lockstep with the design progression. So if you do, say, a 10% design, you can have like a class 4 estimate. As you progress in design, your estimates get better and better until you go out to bid. You'll have a engineer's estimate that should be pretty close, within 10-20% probably. When you go out to bid, then you know what it actually costs. So that kind of describes the number you're working with and how the cost estimate would get better as design progresses. So we're just in a real preliminary, we think a package plant would cost this much based on previous projects, or what a vendor might have told us, plus some contingencies added to that.
Maybe you could break out what the cost for the plant would be. I don't know if that's a possibility. I guess I'm just trying to take this in,
Well, there are different reports. One is for the plants versus the tanks. So then we have.
What do you think, Travis? I feel like this is a little bit over my head, honestly. Chris.
Well, for instance, for the tanks, I think the alternative 2 was recommended, construction of 4 new tanks to replace the existing ones, and the cost estimates are kind of broken out on that level 5. On pages.
Okay. No. Yeah. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
You have a few engineers here if you want to ask questions.
I guess, okay, so my questions are tanks, they come with engineering plans, right? Isn't that kind of that's what I thought tanks came with engineering plans. I don't know. I guess I'm just having a hard time swallowing the 600,000 for engineering designs. I feel like I need to be able to explain it to my constituents and the people that, would end up paying this down the line. So I'm just wondering about that. I guess that's my end.
Sure, that's a good question. So the way the tanks would work is you have some existing tanks. They have to be cut over to new tanks. So there's not just the tank. There's the site's civil engineering. There's controls and operations, yard piping, valves. All these things have to be thought through, and then a plan has to be created to implement that cutover from constructing a new tank without losing service on the old one. Additionally, the tank has a few components itself. There's a tank which is manufactured, and some instances the vendor could do a design. In some cases, the design engineer would design it, or they're at least going to specify elements of it. And then there's also a foundation, which the design engineer would do, in addition to, like I said, civil engineering, survey, yard piping, process mechanical, SCADA, INC. So there's a lot of parts that go into it. You can't just say, make a tank
Yeah.
and put it there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. If there's any other questions, we have a lot of horsepower on the call here, so.
Yeah, I know. It's like I don't even know where to start in some ways.
That's
I feel like
okay.
I'm in. And then also like I don't, I'm sure Chris has told you a lot about RID, and I feel like I'm just like stepping into this, not really knowing if what I'm saying is like correct or, pertinent to what you guys are thinking. But like our annual budget is about $4.5 million a year. And I'm just like, like, have you ever worked with, smaller budgets like ours? I mean,
Absolutely.
is this, oh, you have? Okay. And I mean, it's,
I'm just speaking to the tanks. I didn't
yeah.
assist on the process plant, but yeah, we work with small communities all the time.
Really? With like,
How do they afford it?
yeah, how do they
SRF
know?
loans. SRF
Yeah.
loans.
What, can you give me an example of one of the communities and what the project was? And
I'm out of the Reno area, so there's northern Nevada communities, small rural communities that City of Fallon, Winnemucca, Battle Mountain, parts of the Reno area, that don't have a lot of money, and they're very small, and they need they'll plan the project and these are in Nevada, not California, but the SRF funding is the same in most states, I believe. The agencies will start from the beginning intending to use these SRF loans because they typically, it would be a high threshold to be able to afford certain regulatory requirements. It's usually regulatory requirements that would drive a project from my experience. Not that in your instance, you have incredibly high seismic forces in your area and your tanks have basically failed. I can't speak to the plant itself. I didn't help on that, but it's usually, in my experience, it's a process where the intention from the very beginning is SRF funding. So you have to set the project up that way. It creates a little more hurdles on the engineering side and more effort and paperwork, but you get that, typically like a low cost 30-year loan is what I've seen.
All right.
But
Any other questions?
Ask questions.
Like this is for the wastewater treatment plant, and then if we were to do the tanks are like 3.3 million, which is part of the other report, and so that would be, we're talking 300 grand. No, that's not for everything. That's just for the one part. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the good part is that it goes lock, step in with the Humboldt bid. So there's the confidence that they go hand in hand, both reports, but definitely a shock value when it comes to the funding of it and the amount of money that has to be spent in order to just go forward with it.
Yeah, we had tried for a long time with our Cal OES FEMA grant and kind of failed on that one based on this being not a mitigation project, but a replacement project. They were focused more on mitigation versus replacement. They wanted to retrofit, for instance, the tanks, fund that versus complete replacement.
Well, this conversation is another reason why that property tax is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our options are try and go for something like this or wait until we have to boil water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tristan kind of alluded that to at a prior board meeting, right? Like, wait for things to fail.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see him.
I have realized that it's not the way
It's not
to
the way
go.
to go.
I talked to Travis, yeah.
I would like to see replacement of the tanks, but if we could get grant funding to retrofit the tanks, it would buy us some time at a lot cheaper price tag for the district. You know, it might be something to think about. I mean,
It is in the options here, but when you're going through the details of it with the amount of work that they're doing, it doesn't necessarily guarantee the longevity of them in them for
Right.
the long. So we would end up having to eventually replace them anyway. And so if it would be doable to do them all at once, or replace them like we did with the other water tanks, then, and also going back to our strategic plans and our plans, the water tanks in particular were assessed how many years ago when we first started the project with the other tanks that we replaced. We looked at it in doing it in phases. And so this is that second part of the second phase to that plan. So we have been looking at this as a phased project, and these last 4 tanks are that second phase. So I would have concerns if we continue kicking it down the line when we made a plan however many years ago to replace all of the tanks. And yet understanding we couldn't do them all 11 tanks at once. And so we broke it up into 2 phases. And anyway.
I get it. I get it. I just, if someone else is willing to pay for it versus us paying for complete replacement. I mean, you understand where I'm going with this?
I know, I totally agree. I wonder,
We don't
can
have
we
the money
afford
for
this?
this.
Like,
We don't have the money for this.
that's the unfortunate thing. Like, I would like to actually see, like, what does the payment look like? I mean, we just did our budget. You know, we were there. There's not much wiggle room. And so I would like to see how we could wiggle something. How would this work? I would love to see it work, but I want to see
Absolutely.
how it works.
Working magic.
Yeah.
Back to what I said, back to nuts and bolts. But we also don't have a choice. It's money that has to be spent. It's really how do you structure to spend it? Because we're in need of these banks and the repair and the water treatment. So it's really a question of back to how do you make it work? We don't have a choice but to go forward. I need to know more.
Yeah, it's really important to look at this planning as setting you guys up for a $7 to $15 million grant as well. So yeah, sticker shock is going to be a hard one. That's $700,000 in a loan, but you guys will not get a grant without having those plans. And so it's going to be very difficult. Even our USDA one, same exact thing. We didn't have the money to do the treatments on all the private property until we came up with that plan. It took a bunch of staff time going through all the houses, setting ourselves up, and we ended up getting the 20% forgiveness on the match. So there could be grants that come up later on, but not if we don't have the plans ready.
I'm going to say again, a good thing we're going to have a meeting with a strategic planning individual. That hopefully this is addressed because this is what it's all about. And it is. It's a long-term, short-term. It's a long-term to have it done, but it's something short-term that needs to be done now. So I'm going to have to agree with Nick on that one. We need to. Unfortunately, we're going to have to suck it up and just to be able to move forward. But I need to know more about numbers to move forward.
Well, moving forward, we'll get the numbers. Yeah, we'll create the numbers and we can always back out. We don't have to do it. So as long as we're moving forward, we'll make those decisions as they come.
So. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just said right there, music to my ears, because we will get those numbers as we keep moving forward. And again, moving forward does not mean you're saying yes to a loan today. I wanted to add a quick note on the retrofitting just to give a little bit more context. We really did explore that as much as we could, and it started out as a good potential grant opportunity for the district, but then honestly, it started to become like trying to shove a square peg into a round hole. And it just, it did not work. And the funders were coming to us being like, hey, this project, it didn't have, it was a FEMA based grant, and it had very specific requirements, and they added in more requirements the further down the road we got. It operated very differently from a lot of other programs that I've worked with for small communities. But at the end of the day, I agree with the engineer's decision where the recommendation of replacing all 4 tanks versus retrofitting, you're probably going to get a lot more bang for your buck. The tanks are going to last a lot longer, and it will probably serve the district better moving into the future.
Joy, if we were in a 30-year loan with the state revolving fund, potentially being optimistic, more grants would come up in the future and we'd be able to get grants to pay that off. Possibly. I'm just asking.
The possibility is there, yes. However, I can't say what will happen in 5, 10, 15, or 30 years. And I think one of the things to really note here is like right now, it is focusing on planning and design and moving that forward. Currently today, there are grant funds available for projects that are shovel ready. So once the planning and design and that the engineering documents are completed, that gives us the chance to reevaluate and see what funding is available for the construction portion of the project. And there is the potential that we could get some grant fundings for that. And that's the main cost of both the treatment plant and the tanks, is the construction portion of it versus the planning and design. But moving that planning and design forward, so that way we can get to the point where it is shovel ready and reevaluating what funding will be available at that time.
Okay. Any other questions of the board before we go to public comment? No? Public comment. Arlen.
Thank you. So if this was a second phase, why aren't we using the same engineering firm that we did the last 7?
We're not there yet.
I think in the last 7, it was what, Laco Associates, and I think that was they were a paid engineering firm to be also serve as project manager on the construction project. Yeah. I don't know.
And then I have a few questions about the sizes of the tanks. So they're pretty similar, 30 foot and 31 and 32 feet. So, I mean, the gallons are different, but it seems like they're kind of similar. So couldn't we use those plans that we did on the first phase? And then I also have some questions about the design contingency is 30%, and then the engineering design is 12. That's 42%, and I'm adding those percentages up, and I come up with 137.4. So what are the percentages on this on page 20 on the report? Why don't they make 100%?
I'll have to look into that.
So
go ahead, Joy.
Okay, I can add some additional commentary to that, and then Jacobs, if you have anything, please follow up. So the cost estimates, again, high level preliminary right now, and at this level of cost estimates, your non-construction costs, such as your engineering design, oftentimes taken as a percentage of your total construction cost and your materials cost. So like you have your hard materials, which are your valves, your feet of pipe, the tank itself, and kind of what that total comes to. And then it's saying engineering cost will be 12% in that total in addition. Permitting is typically 5% of that construction cost. And the total cost estimate is then the summation of all of those. So the percentages aren't designed to add up to 100%. They are just saying that the cost for engineering will typically be 12% of all of those hard construction costs. Does that answer the question?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, 100% has always been 100% until we got this president. So it doesn't make sense. I mean, 127.
Is the question is why is it more than, I'm not sure what exactly you're referring to. What's over 100%?
Well, I'd like to see where the design and the engineering design and the design contingency is pretty much what I'm feeling is the engineering spec of this, that is going to be 42%. But if it's, I know it comes out to $679,000 for those 2 points. So that's pretty much what you're talking about as the engineer. And then so it's saying that that's 42%, but of the project, but it can't be 42% because it adds up to 137%. So I just, I'm just confused on that. Why even put in a percentage if it's not a correct number?
I think I understand the question. So that percentage, it is not saying that it's 42% of the project cost. It is saying that it is the construction costs plus 12% plus 42% and plus 5% to like get to the total cost at the bottom. So it's construction costs plus 42% of that construction cost. So it's not like you're not dividing the pie. It's more like you have the construction cost, and then that is the base you're adding to it. Yes.
Construction is the 100, and those other numbers are percent of that 100.
You're adding to the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a construction cost, right? And then we don't know exactly what the other elements will cost, but we know historically they're a certain percentage of that cost, right? And so we're saying what we're estimating is the construction cost, then the other non-construction elements of that are 42% we're estimating of that construction cost. To get a total cost, it's that construction cost plus the 42% times the construction cost. We're not taking slices of 100% pie. We're just trying to get to an estimate. Does that help?
Okay. All my questions.
Thank you, Arlen. Anybody else? All right, let's move on.
Thank you, Joy, Dylan.
Yep.
Everyone else.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to board member staff reports. Directors? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I've been working with Tesha on the budget meetings every week. It's been really interesting, and I've really enjoyed working with Tesha and Chris and getting to know staff and everything a little bit more. Yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Okay. Jeff?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing? Tesha?
Talking to community members about the tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, approximately about 8 hours of budget meetings.
Oh,
And again, I really want to thank Chris. Has been really well prepared. He's done a lot of the work before Tristan and I have started joining in on the meetings. And again, it has been really I think it's been a really smooth process so far, and I've enjoyed working with Tristan. And I'm honestly excited to bring the budget to the board for May.
Wow.
And we will, maybe we might have one more meeting. I'm not sure. I know we finished up all the different departments, and it is the cost of business of operations is what it is, and it's I don't believe that we are overspending. I don't think we're being no, I feel like the district is being very prudent with the money. So it is what it is.
All right, Wes?
No, I don't really have anything this month.
I did the agenda meeting this month.
Oh, and then also we, myself and Jessica, I believe, too, we did an AI training.
What we got? Chris?
So for the month of March, lots of sport progress. Median construction, concrete floors. We received sports equipment, scheduled fencing installation, hopefully next week. Received the first reimbursement request from the state grantor, so that was pretty good. We got all that we could get pre-construction wise, so we're helping out there. Tentatively scheduled painting of the court lines for late May. And that was because the contractor recommended waiting at least 60 days after the pour to allow the concrete ample time to cure. He also volunteered his labor for this part of the project if the district provides the material. So that's going to be a bonus. And we also got signage for the court, spell out rules for usage. Continued work on the budget, as Tesha mentioned, multiple budget meetings, and then also meetings with CalPERS health representatives to continue progress on the district's health insurance provider switch from SDRMA. Met online with staff and engineering solution services, ESS, that's our on-call grant writing contractors, to discuss potential grant funding opportunities, mainly for water and wastewater projects. Met online with Least Law to discuss potential USDA loans for water-related projects. That was mentioned earlier. I think they informed us that there are USDA loans, once again, shovel ready, and we would have to pay, I think, 25%. So the loan is 75%, I think, of the project. So 25% is pretty big for some of these bigger projects. Attended online meetings with Moonshot Missions regarding the DWSRF application process. Corresponded and attended multiple online meetings with staff and our strategic plan consultant. So hopefully we get that going. Met with county engineers and contractors to address a failed culvert and emergency repair project on Hillside Drive. You can see the photo there. We had an 8-inch water main across the path, so we definitely had to get involved on that one. I was very impressed with the county being very quick and proactive on that imminent failure. Corresponded with the North Coast Air Quality Management District in Cal OSHA regarding a smoke complaint from our controlled burns. Coordinated with the Lost Coast Tourism Association for the golf course Links in the Lost Coast golf tournament. And I want to add, I know Wendy has already left, but the last few weeks we were prioritizing our bucket truck rental charge, and we needed staff to do traffic control on Shelter Cove Road as they clear Highline, which is a important project we do every year, in addition to the weather that we had in the last week or two. So there wasn't a lot of maintenance on the golf course. However, we have been hitting it pretty hard this week. And just like we got it ready in time for the Irish games last month, it'll be ready in time for the Links in the Lost Coast tournament this weekend. So corresponded with Friends of the Lost Coast also on an upcoming BLM funded project to remove invasive vegetation in the cove, mainly pampas grass. I met with them just this week, and they're going to do some hand tool work right above Little Black Sands Beach, between Little Black Sands and Eelport. There is a huge patch of pampas grass that we're going to be hitting. It's in the green belt, and we're going to be cognizant of 100-foot buffer around lots, because we know the grant. We're going to do what we can there. Reviewed NPS permit renewal for the wastewater treatment plant, and wrote a letter of comments to the state water boards requesting minor modifications for that. So we'll find out about that probably, I think it's June, I think is when they finalize that. And plans for the next month, continue working on the budget. And we'll have the first reading in the May regular board meeting, and to approve it with the final hearing or public hearing in June, hopefully. We'll also continue working with staff, the contractor, consultant engineer, and volunteers in the sports courts project. Like we said earlier, I'm thinking people can start using it here in late May, in a month's time. Continue to educate on the tax measure proposal. As mentioned, I will be tomorrow evening at Mimochima to educate the public on the Measure A and what it means. We'll also begin IBEW MOU negotiations with staff and the board. And for contract, I'm supposed to remind the board that at this April regular board meeting that the GM annual evaluation requirement is due on or before June 30th. So that is now official. And I'll continue the process to change the district's health insurance provider and continue seeking out grant funding opportunities for all the various projects we have going on, including the community clubhouse. So we're going to start looking at that more intensely. That concludes my report for the month of March. Do we ask questions now or wait till we all end for everyone?
Wait till the end.
Yeah. So Jessica.
All right. In administration, we're still doing some of the year-end reports because those come due in February and March. And so the ones that were in March were our PCI compliance report, which is ensuring consumer protection with credit card transactions. The administration department also completes a portion of the EAR water report. The state controller's compensation report. And I think that's it on reports. We transferred over our web hosting from Earthlink to Cloudflare, which should theoretically make it a little bit faster. And it was recommended by our website designer as well as our IT person, Garth. And let's see what else we do. We had some forms that the Humboldt County Office of Elections sent up for the upcoming election for preferences. This upcoming election will have 2 board seats on it. They have not yet released the campaign schedule yet, so I don't know what dates that people who are interested in becoming board members need to go to the county and fill out their forms or their applications for that. But once I get that information from the Office of Elections, I will be sure to pass it on. Lots of meetings, including budget and strategic planning meetings. There was one rather lengthy public records request that took up a good amount of time. We registered 1 board member for the CSDA Leadership Academy, which last year we had 3 board members go. We had, let's see, some website uploading issues. We troubleshot those and got that fixed. We also received and reviewed the draft audit report for 21-22, and I do have a few comments when we get to that section. I also, let's see, there was quite a few health insurance onboarding meetings. There will be a health fair on May 13th for all staff to get acquainted with the possible plan options. They send a representative from each of those providers, so you can ask them questions, and they will be coming in-house to do that, which is interesting. I thought it would be an online meeting. I communicated with Michelle, and she will be willing to come to Michelle Bushnell, our Board of Supervisors representative. She is willing to attend the town hall. But what I did notice was that we didn't really discuss the location. Are we doing that here? Yeah. Here? Not at the clubhouse. Okay. All right. Just need to pass that on. And let's see.
Audio video stuff.
Okay. And I reached out to the Eureka Municipal Golf Course to get their recommendations or get their advice on how they handle golf tournament requests so that we can process those better in the future. And I think that's pretty much the vast majority of it.
Alex?
All right, for the month of March, pretty operationally heavy on my part. Greg was gone for the whole month, and like Chris said, staff helped out the electrical crew for line clearance.
and Anthony Garrett. Congratulations, Anthony, passed his Class A and was gone for a week. So it was a lot for me to handle, but we got through it. Basically, we had 2 breaks, which is kind of average, or seems to be average, off a OMR distribution system. We had a lateral saddle that probably had been leaking for years. They start with a pinhole, and then it progressively will blast out of the saddle and shoot down the pipe and basically start edging out the pipe. That was around approximately 20 gallon a minute leak. That's been digged for our Jeff system, which is right in the middle of our distribution system. We've been chasing it for the last 3 months. It's been quite the headache, but that's fixed, and hopefully we'll see what's going on in that system next. Also, within the Jeff Bud PRV, the gate valve was leaking 20 gallons a minute also. So the day that Frank left, he was like, watch Jeff's system. We were watching it daily, losing 3 to 4 feet every day. Justin located it, which he's progressively keeps on improving, and he actually found and isolated the leak within 20 minutes. So that was really neat to be able to see him improve and basically progress in that duty. Also want to thank Dylan Brown for achieving and passing his grade 2 wastewater test. That's huge for the team. I was going to be working all the last 5 weeks, 7 days a week, but he was able to help out on Saturdays. So that massively helped us out. And then he's been really becoming part of the water department on the SCADA and radio path troubleshooting. Yesterday, we had a major breakthrough talking to Dylan and David Apshner. All of the addresses that we basically had a legend of all service addresses for well sites, booster pumps, tanks, and they were off by several numbers. So what it said wasn't so. And we were able to confirm that yesterday. We had Kennedy on this first morning for almost a year. Every morning I wake up, Kennedy's out, and it was all on.
Wow.
We also verified that the radios are pointing literally the wrong direction and not even almost 100 or 90 degrees off. And they're not omnidirectional, they're one way. So I think in the next couple of days, I didn't even want to be here today, so me and Dylan could go, because Dylan's also going to be out for a couple months coming up. Here. So we have a very small window. Next week is also sanding and then possibly said pond cleaning. So we're trying everything we can in-house. And to give Dylan props, we definitely need to acknowledge what he's been doing. And also with the SC100 controller, there was a turbidity meter that went out. I always call it the gremlin of the cove. When Frank leaves, everything seems to break. We had a VFD for Lar booster pump go out, so right in the middle of our distribution system, we couldn't pump. We had our VFD at the disc press go out. We had our polymer injector go out at the water treatment plant. Dylan was able to take the C100 model, and right now, currently, they're running a 500, so it's 200, 400, and the 543 model. Basically, with the tech, over 2.5 hours, able to tear apart a motherboard, rebuild it, and I watched him do probably what nobody would be able to do without breaking or being extremely frustrated, and the tech telling him that it was a complete fail. So we have ordered a new turbidity meter, CS100 coming, but it's 5 weeks out. So if Dylan wasn't able to get that, we would have been 5 weeks basically running the water plant at hand, which after hours we wouldn't have been able to run through turbidity compliances. So it's becoming part of the team and really, really helping out and saving the district a lot of money for industrial electrician work, SCADA work, and that's what Anthony also on the distribution team. It's literally Justin, it's the whole staff. Everybody's trying. Frank with a hip replacement. Got on the mower on Monday, mowed for 3 hours for the golf course, just trying to help out. So we're trying our best. We're trying to do everything we can, and we are moving forward on the golf course mowing. We got Lima, which is a $3,000 mower, automatic robot mower, no more basically electronic fences. They can do 1.75 acres, and that one looks pretty good. The Husqvarna has a $33,000 professional golf course mower, which is a fairway driver and a greens mower, and they'll come out here and set us up for approximately 34 grand, which a new mower right now is 30 grand. So to me, it's a no-brainer. We could have the golf course being mowed literally through the night or at 5 a.m. in the morning. And then also too, it could mow during raining events because it's not heavy. So all these more so. So these wet patches on the different spots it's not a heavy impact or footprint. So it's not this huge big tractor. It's a little light robot. So hopefully that could help out and make that not be an issue going forward too. What else do we do? Something big in wastewater. We received the magnesium hydroxide, which is our pH control. Huge for safety or worker safety. Basically, a lot of guys get hurt from slacking line or with lime issues. That's what we've been doing. We usually do paper, scissors, rocks. Who gets to do it? And now we're injecting daily. The first couple of weeks were problematic trying to figure out the injection points. And right now, Bill built an Excel graph basically to see cost point, and we're $1 more a day than lime. We expect it to go lower. So we're right about average where we were, and then the safety element is just completely changed. We also got the pre-chlorination injection point at the water treatment plant fixed too. It's been pretty busy, but it's all in all for all the problems that came up, and then also with the county culvert, that was a 8-inch AC pipe, asbestos pipe, and all the county were. Anthony was gone, Avery was gone, Frank was gone, and county band meter, a lot of crews that worked with the deflection on the pipe was pretty sketchy. But we were able to close down the valves, weren't able to pump again, made it very difficult during that whole process because the valves in the middle of our distribution system were off again. But all in all, for all the problems and what came up, we fought through it, and I think we did a pretty good job.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nick? Oh, no, we gotta do electric. John.
John's trying to wrap up the rental bucket truck. This is our last week of the rental bucket truck, so this home stretch. Like it says, continued tree work both in Shelter Cove and on the tie line, so that keeps us safe, keeps the wind, fall, power outage events from happening. It's really hard to quantify how much this could save us over time based on not having the emergency outages, the after hours on-call incidents, this preventive maintenance work that we do every year. Most of our outages are PG&E grid tie related, not within the Shelter Cove area. They also helped on the USDA grant by dropping a service drop for tree limb removal, so they had to remove the power lines out of the way. Pre-paint inspection on the new work truck in Medford. And as you can see, there was one PG&E related outage on the tie line, almost 5 hours long. So. And then Parks and Recreation will cover too. As the pictures show, we installed the grant required Proposition 68 signage for the sports courts project. That sign has to remain on site during construction and for 4 years after construction. So we'll move that onto the fence once it's installed. Anthony and Justin also repaired wooden bridges on the golf course. I know that Arlen brought that up a few board meetings ago. So there was some rotten wood on some of the bridge. I'm not sure if they did more than one bridge, but I know they got one bridge repaired on the golf course. And they also relocated the horseshoe pits at the clubhouse in time for the Irish games. And then, Nick.
Yeah, so last month was significantly less busy on the call volume side, so that's good. People are being safer. I think we were at 27 911s. The month previous, we were only at 9 in March. So that's good. That being said, we did have one extremely close call. They had a fire at the coffee shop that was Surf Point coffee shop that was a spontaneous combustion of rags and could have easily burnt down that entire building. So through our investigation and then working with both the coffee shop owner and the owner of the building, we're working on some mitigation so that doesn't happen again. One of the biggest things we found was they had no live fire alarm system. So when the smoke was sensed, nothing called 911, nothing did anything. It happened after hours. The fire started approximately 3 o'clock in the morning. They didn't find it until 7. So could have easily burnt for a long time. And so when we came in, they had moved the rags outside, and it was just smoke damage to a bathroom, and then just some minor smoke damage to the rest of the building. But that was a big wake-up call for that whole process and everybody involved with that, to how easily we could have had a major event in the heart of Shelter Cove. That would have been one of our Super Bowl moments, as we call it, for a large firefight. It's all hands on deck and everything. So working forward, we're going to work on more of a prevention stance of letting a lot of these business owners know, have you tested your fire alarm system? Does it call 911? If it isn't, this had a basically disposable over-the-counter smoke detector. That if nobody's there, they can't hear it. It also didn't alarm the people sleeping above the restaurant in the hotel, which is our biggest fear, is the life safety fear. So we are still working on mitigating that. One of our officers just went through the fire investigation class last month. He's getting to put some of the stuff he learned through a 3-week process into play, which was good to see as well. All staff worked on the 40-person PSFA, Public Safety First Aid, for all the volunteers. We had 2 of our members in it, so the rest were all local mutual aid department. So we're still working on that and being a force of support for our local mutual aid departments. With that, we have 8 of our 10 Senator McGuire's Type 6s have been delivered. One of them is ready for pickup. It hasn't been delivered yet, but it's ready to go, and we're just waiting on one more for that. Our Type 6 project is moving into the box phase, so we got that vehicle during a grant, and we've been waiting for funding to start building the actual toolbox part of that. So that's happening right now, and then our garage is moving into the wiring phase. So got the floor polished up so it's permanent, doesn't get damaged, and I got Johnny working on ordering some wiring for that so we can get off the extension cords. So make it look a little more professional. Other than that, just getting ready for fire season. So this rain is great. It bought us probably a month right now of peak fire season. So we're actually utilizing grant crews right now to clean up the nature trail. So one of the things when I hear the Parks and Rec plan, great plans, but we need to make sure we're doing the maintenance on that as well. That nature trail hasn't had full maintenance in probably a year and a half to 2 years. So right now we have our fuels crew in there. They're doing a lot of cutting. I've heard a couple complaints from the community that we're overcutting. I explained that it's like a half-done haircut right now. If they give us time, allow us to complete the project, it's going to look a lot better. Sorry about that. They got a medical, like a rescue. So as they go forward, you're going to see a lot more natural areas that are also fire safe. And that's one of the big things we're doing. We're not clear cutting any trees. We're only taking out the hazard trees. The ferns, for example, are getting topped. They're not getting cut to the bottom, so they're already regrowing from stuff they cut 2 weeks ago. So I've dealt with some of the complaints on my own, but if you guys get those complaints, feel free to contact me and to see if they could have overcut in certain areas that I don't see, and I have to go investigate that. So that is a part of the process. And then we're staying that 100 foot out of the creek. So a lot of people are like, oh, you didn't even finish it. Well, we're not going down to the waterways. So that's why it looks like we didn't do anything in there. And yeah, I'm excited to work with the ad hoc committees. We've already opened up some greenbelt areas that are going to make it a lot more accessible. However, that does allow for more people to go up into the greenbelt, which then allows for more fire starts. So we got to work on both hands of that, because a lot of our greenbelt's been inaccessible for the last 20 years. We haven't had to deal with people being up in there yet. So once we have trails, we'll have to be more cognizant of what the potential is for fire starts in there. Other than that, lot going on in the next couple months.
Thank you.
Yeah, questions?
Nick, I don't know, are you guys, did you nail down a date for the triage class yet?
Yeah, it's gonna be next Wednesday, or the 2 Wednesdays from now. It's gonna be during the normal fire drill. Yeah, there's an email out. And I'll make sure you get it.
Okay, thank you.
See if we reschedule that.
And yeah, just talking about the trails and in the full plan that we, that the Parks and Rec have submitted, it is contingent on making sure, lining up our trails with fire breaks, and then also having those warning signs, also about being cognitive of wildlife and that kind of thing, because we are putting people, or we are allowing people to go more, use the green belts, and animals also use the green belts. So we'll definitely be making sure we have the warning signs, and hopefully our cell service will be better, so people can call 911 from those areas. That'll be interesting too, to see how that lays out.
Any other questions, comments about the reports?
What was the public records request for?
Same one.
Yeah.
I guess
Well, I mean,
I don't know if the one you worked on was the one I worked on.
no, it was a different one.
Okay. The one I had was the potential burning of poison oak during one of the line clearing for the power line easements. It wasn't our project. It was Johnny's and the Cal Fire Make crews. We got called to investigate it for the potential burning poison oak, which is something that you're not supposed to burn as part of our permit. When I got there, there's no poison oak actively burning. There's poison oak in the area because there's poison oak everywhere in Shelter Cove. I didn't discredit the complaint because it definitely could have happened before I got called in. The pile had been burning for 3 hours. But as I got up there, there was no active poison oak. They were actually dragging brush from across the street where there was no poison oak. And so dealing with that, they wanted everything. How, all the property owners involved, all the RID staff's information. It was kind of a blanket public resource request. And so that is one thing staff's been trying to narrow in, is what actually the real policies versus what the idea of policies are for public records requests. What do we have to offer versus, if they ask for it more broadly, we don't have to go find all the information, versus do we have to go look for all the information for them, or do they have to be more specific? So that's been the last year or so. We've seen a lot more of that than I have ever in my career out here. So and I think with AI, we're going to see a lot more of that. You can say, what do they need to give me on AI? And you're going to get anything you want depending on how you put the information.
Yeah, it was, I guess, I was thinking of the other public records requests
Yeah,
you got, but it was essentially the same, but with different components. And one of the things that they had requested was every single policy we had, and we hadn't put that together in one cohesive document. So instead of sending them 100 policies separately, I took the time and put it all together into one book now. So it's one giant PDF instead of multiple documents. And then they requested contract information, and I don't remember.
Is that same document you sent to the rest of us?
Yeah, I think
that
so.
I received?
I don't know.
I think you.
To the board too?
Yeah, I believe
Okay,
you
I
did
never sent it
receive
to
the whole
staff.
PDF, the whole policy PDF, and so that's what that was. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and I mean, is that now available publicly anyway? I mean, are our policies?
Oh, yeah, well, public records request is totally public information.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, those policies get approved at board meetings.
And really good job, Travis. It sounds like you had a really busy but very productive month. It sounds like you made a lot of leeway in a lot of areas that have been bothering us for a while, and it sounds like you've been really rallying your staff, which is kudos to you. So that's great.
Yeah, and then with ESS on the AMI, I forgot to mention about that, but I've been working with Badger, and right now we've given them all of our water loss data. Right now, what they want is a customer portal. So Badger does offer that. Right now, we're looking at Itron for customer portal part, which they don't do water meters in California. So Badger will work with AMSON. They will do a CSV format
So that's really neat. Guys work with Amazon. And we just got all service addresses to be able to see if their customer portal aspect of it will need basically a self-service boosting. So right now they can talk to each other, but we don't know if it will work in the areas where it's limited service. And but if it will work, and which we think it will because it's more of a text base than an actual call, it would be every 15 minutes it would broadcast, and every customer be able to see live what their water usage is, and then be able to do conservation or see a leak. We've seen several people have massive leaks, and they would be able to know instantly. And then also on the district side, we would be able to see everything. It's going to be a really effective tool once it's implemented. It's looking like all the data that we've already given ESS and they ran. We have a lot of water loss. So now we're just waiting on Badger side, and hopefully we get that soon.
I did forget to mention one thing, which you just kind of reminded me of. With the AMSON program, I had to update every single electrical meter by hand. You can't import it into the system. So I guess when this comes along, it will probably be the same thing, a manual entry for every single meter that we have, and that did take days.
Sounds like we need an intern.
Exactly.
Or two.
So it's not really, I'm kind of confused on that.
I don't know why they couldn't upload all the new
And so this will be
numbers.
for every reading, every time we read, you'll have to?
No, it's just for the serial
Oh,
numbers
just for
or
the
the
serial.
reading
Okay,
numbers.
okay.
Because the program has to, the way I understand it, the way it gets read, it has to use a certain frequency number that's located on the meter for electrical. I'm not really sure. I'm assuming it's going to be similar for the water meters anyways. And so I don't know the way they have their thing written. I had to go in and manually update every single meter's electrical number.
But that should be, but just that one time,
Yeah,
right?
so once it's in
And then
forever
when
unless
it's
the
in,
meter
okay.
gets swapped out.
And then you'll have to, okay, well, as long as it's that one time.
And then going forward, we wouldn't have to have staff go out and read water meters.
Yeah.
Because we'd be getting that data live every
So much dog chagrin.
No mowing, no reader meeting.
We're trying.
We could lay people off.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
About the mower, you said that was $34,000.
Approximately, Husqvarna's got like a commercial. They're being implemented on a lot of golf courses right now.
Yeah.
They could do 18 acres, and they're also no electric fence, all satellite. Limo was a little guy that I want to encourage Nick to maybe just get for here, and then maybe in the community center. That was $3,000. That would do 1.75 acres, 85 zones, programmable. It looked like residential areas, like 5 or 6 homes were going in on it. And you could program literally basically 1.75 acres a day.
Is that in the budget?
You know what, he kind of brought it up like casually, but now I'm like thinking in my head, because I mean, it sounds like it'd be,
I think our mower right now is, I was talking to the guys, they were saying it would be approximately 30 grand just to replace just our greens mower. So we could literally have a team from Husqvarna, and they have little portable charging stations. So it's like a doghouse that at the end of the day it would just go park itself, or strategically within where batteries run out, let's say, it does pull 1 through 5, and it goes parks itself. But
yeah. Well, I mean, with the price of diesel running those tractors right now too, right? Pay for itself pretty quickly.
It pay for itself the first year. Yeah. I thought they were, last year I was looking into it, autonomous ones were around $80,000, and you had to still be remote control.
Oh.
So now, which made no sense because you have to babysit it. And now they're showing them where if there's a dog or a kid or anything, it just goes off track.
So what's the longevity of those?
That's, that's where all the questions were coming up yesterday, so.
And how long do the batteries last? And cost to replace it?
That's all the information that we're gonna be gathering soon.
Okay,
Cool. How much can you get for the lawnmower?
I don't know.
Are you in the market?
200.
We auctioned it out.
3.
I just have a comment. I would like to see for these higher end or these larger purchases, I would like to see a written report that spells out the pros and the cons. Just so, and it's a written record that we have on hand, on file. So basically the request for that, right? What that would, and then that would have all those details in it for the board. That'd be very helpful.
Okay, so let's move on because it's getting late. Public comment, public questions, anything about the?
Thank you. All that you, for everything that you've done, but also I'm just gonna say more the kudos for your crew and what that represents is good leadership from Chris and your departments. And then coming together when things are tight and still pulling it off, good leadership. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to action items. Are we good with that? All right, action item number 1, approve modifications to board policy 1020, conflict of interest, second reading.
Yeah, so we looked at this last board meeting and then the request was to bring it to legal counsel for revisions, recommendations. Just as background, the Political Reform Act requires local government agencies to review their conflict of interest code every 2 years and make any changes as necessary. The board saw this last month. I tried to add in a lot of items to allow for the board to determine if there's actually a conflict of interest or not. And as you can see, all the redlining, legal review did not agree that that was something that we could do.
Of course not.
So you can, we added in the red line version and then a cleaned up version for it, to help you see what it actually looks like. It's a little difficult to read with all the fact changes enabled. So recommendation is just to approve the changes as presented. Are there any questions?
For me.
I think it looks really good, and it's shorter than the other one, and it with the designated positions, I feel like we're very well covered on who needs to conform to this.
Anybody else?
I found a couple of typos that maybe we could go over, just like,
Not right now, but there's like a comma that doesn't make any sense. There's like
non-defined terms that are capitalized and stuff like that, like nothing substantive.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna say, I was just looking at all the red and just going, wow, they didn't like a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it does keep it a little bit,
Short and sweet.
sweet.
Yeah.
Basically, the compromise is in that 1020.40 edition. In the event a board member believes or the district is advised that matter may present a potential conflict of interest, the board member shall disclose the potential conflict of interest to district council as soon as practical, and district council can review it and determine. So rather than the board decide whether or not there's a conflict, the council would help determine that.
Yeah.
And this follows state law, so I think, and that makes me feel good that our policies are mirroring state law. Yes.
And then just as a reminder to the process that this particular type of policy, this policy goes before the Humboldt County, and they have to approve it as well, and that's when it becomes active.
So if we approve it today, right, it doesn't need it's 2 readings, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you'll send it to Humboldt County supervisors?
It actually goes to office elections.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So, and then you'll notify us as soon as it gets approved.
Yeah.
And we can approve it with the editorial modifications. commas and capitals.
Anybody else before we go to public comment? No, public comment? From the crowd?
Oh, you know what? The Office of Elections does they put it as an agenda item before it goes. to
Okay,
supervisors,
but yeah.
They probably won't do that until they do it every year, I think in July or August. So it might be a minute before it comes back
Okay.
around.
That being said, let's get a motion rolling.
I'll move to approve the modifications to board policy 1020 conflict of interest code with modifications, yeah. Grammatical adjustments without changing the
I'll second that.
substantive.
Roll call.
Tristan Sanders,
Aye.
Mike Solari,
Aye.
Tasha Shane,
Aye.
Wes Bonheim,
Aye.
Jeff Hildreth.
Motion carries. Moving on, action item number 2, consider nomination for a district member to serve on LAFCO.
Yeah, so this comes up every 2 years or so. The Humboldt Local Agency Formation Committee, LAFCO, is an independent local agency created by the state legislature in 1963. LAFCO's mission is to facilitate changes in local government structure and boundaries, foster orderly growth and development, promote the efficient delivery of services, and encourage the preservation of open space and agricultural lands. Most notably, this includes managing local governmental boundary changes by approving or disapproving proposals involving the formation, expansion, or dissolution of cities and special districts. Humboldt LAFCO is composed of 7 regular commissioners, 2 county supervisorial members, 2 city council members, 2 special district members, and 1 public member. Commission members serve 4-year terms. There's also 1 alternate member for each of the 4 classifications. The LAFCO has put out a call for nominations for 1 regular special district member and 1 alternate special district member to serve on Humboldt LAFCO. The term of office will start on July 1st of this year and expire June 30th, 2030. And financial impact, there's a small stipend and transportation costs are reimbursed by LAFCO. Recommendation, each special district may nominate 1 of their board members to serve on LAFCO. And then you can look at the supporting materials here and then leave it up to you to decide.
So I had a question on this. If you're representing the board on LAFCO starting on July 1st, 2026 until June 30th, 2030, but you're not on the board, so like, I mean, can we, if we had Mike do it and Mike isn't planning on running for re-election in a year, I mean, then do we have to select someone else from the board, or how would that work?
I would have to reach out to them on that one. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, because none of us are going yet till 2030.
Right, I mean, any of us
Could be possibly.
Everyone.
I think it specifically says board
Has to be a
members.
board member, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, the length of term is longer than anyone on this board.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll reach out and have an answer.
Yeah.
Not right now, obviously.
Is anybody interested? Crickets.
I can see where it's beneficial. It's just that I know I'm not interested. We already have a lot of work here locally. So.
That's kind of where we're at. How about public comment? Any public comment on LAFCO, Arlen? No?
I don't know. I've seen LAFCOs do some really weird stuff down in San Luis Obispo County, especially with water rights and water usages. So I think it'd be good for us to have someone on there, but I don't know. I think you're right. We have a lot of people here. There are a lot of stuff going on here for us to try and manage.
So isn't it no action then?
You know, the state water boards are very, provision of drinking water, they're very well encouraged consolidations of districts. But in our case, it's not possible. We're not geographically next to another water district, for instance, to consolidate with. That is something they promote.
Okay. That being said, we can move on.
Do we have to vote on that?
No,
Just no action.
It's fine.
That would be a good no action?
Yeah. Nobody's moving for anybody to do anything.
Right.
Oh, I nominate Wes.
I nominate Jeff.
I may not be here. I need that question answered first then.
We're all gonna get voted off after this tax. So. Nobody wants to face
Okay, so action item number 2, no action. We'll move on to action item number 3, review and approve district year-end financial statements for 2021 and 2022. Chris?
Yeah, so this is long overdue. And I don't think really on any part of staff, we've been really trying to squeak the wheel for years now to get this going, and it's been very difficult for our CPA and auditor to get this going. So just as a reminder, the board reviews the district's year-end financial statements prepared by the district CPA and auditor. Right now, we use Spector and Company and O'Connor and Company, and discusses the findings at a regular board meeting. Included with this item are copies of the draft financial statements ending June 30, 2022. Final bound copies of the report will be made available after board approval. The annual audit is usually completed by the summer of the following year, but due to a series of events such as staff turnover, changes to the district CPA and auditor, and communication and scheduling issues, the audit was delayed significantly. And I do believe our system is a lot more complex than what they usually look at. The State Controller's Office transaction reports are due January 31st of the following year, and we have been filing those on time. And we hope the 2023 and 2024 financial statements will come before the board this annual year. I'm hoping to see those. And then we're right now in process to contract for the 24-25 audit with these same agencies. After that, we have to change. I think every 5 years we're required to change our CPA and audit. I know this is a pretty substantial report.
I just have a couple of general questions. So, I mean, so my understanding of what you said and what I was kind of looking into here is that the reason why this hasn't been done is because the auditing company hasn't been cooperating.
I'll let James answer that.
I mean, I'm not sure why these weren't done in the past. When I came on board, they weren't completed. So there was when Zoe was here, she set up a letter of engagement with both of these companies. And so I went along with what was in place, and it's just been extremely slow. I'm not really sure. You send emails, no replies, and emails, no reply. But now I do feel a lot more confident that they are well versed on our systems and our internal procedures and understanding exactly how we work and all the different components. Generally, an auditor will come in-house and do an audit. These guys told me they would. They won't come. They won't schedule it. So that also involves a lot of us pulling records and scanning them and sending them, which is, I mean, it's not crazy amount of extra time, but it is a little bit more cumbersome than them pulling a file and letting them look through it while they're here on site.
So on that though, the letter of engagement requires them to come here though, right?
I would have to read and see if it said that in there, but I do believe it said it. I do believe it said it in at least the auditor's file. And he did come in, but they didn't.
I mean, then do we get a discount?
No.
I mean, if the letter of engagement requires them to do certain things and they don't do those things.
I don't know. We could bring it up with them again.
Yeah.
They just kind of. Yeah,
because that's putting the cost on us and on you to then have to go do that. That doesn't make any sense. If we're paying them to come for a site visit, they're not coming for the site visit. We shouldn't have to pay for that. That's really disappointing. With that 5-year where we have to change every 5 years, so do we now have to change for 2026 since they're doing 21, or is it like 5 years from the date of their engagement?
My plan is to flip these guys' roles so they're both still familiar, so we have a nice 10-year window.
Gotcha.
Where we don't have to reappoint a new accountant with our procedures.
And so is that starting as of this year, or is that starting as of 2021, which is the year that they reviewed?
2021 would have been the first fiscal year, so yeah, it'll go through, however, how many that brings you to.
Right, so I mean, they'll basically flip with 26.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I spoke to them about it, and I spoke with one of them, and he's definitely agreeable. O'Connor's been easier.
Yeah. Okay, and then just a lot of these issues I know predate, senior staff basically. Yeah. And so have we kind of addressed the issues that they've identified since then, like having deficiencies in these internal control design stuff, or like not having the bookkeeper also write the checks and stuff like that? Like, have we fixed a lot of those issues that they discovered in 2021?
I think some of them, but I don't know. like, for instance, some of them are ongoing, like staff signing off on timesheets. I mean, there's still some work to be done on some of this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure really how to answer that. I don't know.
I know in our conversations, I did have some questions. I think you're reaching out, but I think it'd be a good idea to do the formal accounting, administrative, and fraud procedure manual. They said that we didn't have one of those. So I think that would be a very good place to start as well. And then, what was the other?
Well, okay. Well, going back to what you were asking Wes too about, are you talking about like the one that says 2021-02?
Yeah, and like 2021-01, 02, where they're talking about these deficiencies in internal control design. And like, I mean, some of these are kind of like, okay, we maybe need to do them. And some of them are pretty damning. I think in here, like, there's a couple that, I mean, really lend themselves to very easy options for embezzlement and things like that, that I think really need to be addressed.
Well, that one in particular, I think, like for instance, the staff will write the PO, and then the PO gets checked by other staff, and then I check that. So I'm not sure really. Maybe that's been changed. I don't know what the process was in 2021, but 2022. But I feel like there's at least 3-tier system of reviewing each invoice.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but one of the ones, and I of course can't find it now that I'm looking for it, but where the, yeah, I mean, 2021-01, I mean, that's, I mean, you can't run a private corporation even away. The separation of the record keeping functionality and the bookkeeper responsible for billing, and that's stuff is.
There's definitely a difference between the deficiencies that the previous auditor pulled out versus this one. And this previous auditor hadn't felt very strongly about, I guess, some of these things, recognizing that we are a small district and we all are sitting in the same room and handing things back and forth. They haven't been here to see that process. I don't know if it would change anything if they were on site or not. But when you're answering their auditor questionnaires, we have to answer them truthfully. I mean,
right.
Yeah, this is how it was done then. I got Sue's help for that year when I was still in training. That's how long it's been that they've had this information to work with.
Right.
So I don't know.
And one of the things that, like, where it talks about, the bookkeeper not writing the checks. I mean, our bookkeeper makes the checks, but you're signing them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then also the people in the front office who take in the cash, they're writing a receipt, and then they give it to the bookkeeper who also signs off on it, so to speak. And then everything is accounted for.
So a lot of these issues have been addressed.
Yeah, it's just not probably how they do it in other areas where they have more staff.
I'm also going to say staff has changed, so you brought in your own procedures as well. So again, as long as you've got checks and balances, and this is with different people.
Yeah, and again, if we have what they're recommending, the manual, then that'll all be clearly spelled out, and it'll also go moving forward with even future staff. But it sounds like that we're supposed to have that, so it would be nice to have that.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
Okay. And then my other questions, I think, were pretty, I know you're still kind of looking into them, but they weren't like, wouldn't stop me from approving this.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from the board? No?
I'm excited to see our newer ones.
Jessica has got some questions.
I'm not sure it's not questions, but just some other things I wanted to relay. I had missed the original report. The one report I didn't review as thoroughly, the management report. But on the actual audit documents, what is it called? Annual financial report, I did combed through fairly thoroughly. Definitely hard to read.
It is.
But I did have some corrections for them. I don't know if you want to hear them. Some things that I found were misstated in there. And I do plan to go through the management report to make sure nothing's been misstated, but I haven't set aside the time for that yet. Do you want to hear the corrections, or?
I would like to know before we approve something what the correct, if there's
Yeah.
misinformation in here, we need to know that.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
I can go through them one by one. I only have 4 comments for sure.
Well, I think we should bring this back after you had a chance to look through the first part too.
Yeah.
Maybe you can mark the corrections for us to review.
At that time, yeah.
That'd be helpful.
Okay.
That way we don't have to do it now.
Yeah, I was pretty concerned about a lot of this stuff, and so if you've got corrections to it, that would be great. I mean, like, the report is the report. I would approve it if it was accurate, but if it's not accurate, then
Exactly.
I don't think we can approve it.
Okay.
We table it.
You could go through and we can bring it back next month.
Yeah, bring it back next month.
Okay, and then I guess my plan was, I thought I had sent this to them, but apparently it was still sitting in my draft box. But if anybody else noticed anything that they thought was misstated, please reach out to me, because what I would expect them to do is to incorporate my corrections and then
bring it
review
back
that
to
to you. So, or send that back to you guys.
Well, it'd be also nice, since you said you haven't had really a chance to look at the management report, and we could also address that one too, if there's any corrections.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we don't need a vote on bringing it back?
Bring it back, yeah, please.
No, we gotta go to public comment.
Oh.
Public comment? Okay. Let's move on.
No one online?
I'll make a motion to bring this back with corrections for a second reading for the next meeting.
I will second that motion.
Roll call.
Jessica Shane,
Aye.
Beth Bonheim,
Aye.
Jeff Hildreth, Mike Solori,
Aye.
Tristan Sanders.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's move on. Action item number 4. Approve dissolution of the Parks and Rec Standing Committee. Chris?
Yes, so just a little brief synopsis of the history of the Parks and Recreation Committee. It was created in November 2024 through Resolution 2419. The board later amended the resolution in January 2025 to change the designated meeting dates and time, or dates, and add an alternate member. The board further amended the resolution in August 2025 to change the number of designated RID board members on the committee from 2 to 1. And as the resolution states, the committee was formed to improve and expand recreation opportunities and facilitate the efficient planning and implementation of recreation projects for the Shelter Cove community, primarily through the Parks Department draft strategic plan. The committee was meant to last for 2 years, beginning in January 2025, ending in December 2026. At the last Parks and Recreation Committee meeting in March, the committee moved to recommend the RID board dissolve the committee. The committee considers its given tasks accomplished through the presentation of its Parks and Recreation final recommendations, which were presented earlier in this RID board meeting. So recommendation is to approve the dissolution of the Parks and Recreation Standing Committee.
No. So yeah, I think the committee itself has done a lot of work, and for the strategic plan, where we're at the stage that we're at now, that the committee feels like we have fulfilled that role. Now there will be some future liaisonships and potential ad hoc working groups and ad hoc committees, but the strategic planning committee at this point feels that we're done as far as the strategic part goes. And I think that if we were to try to continue the committee to the end of the year, then we would actually also be replacing a lot of the committee members. I believe Laura's probably done. Denise is going to be traveling a lot. Pauline is in and out, so we just will have another high turnover rate. And with such a large committee too, that also led to, just basically trying to get everybody to show up at once was very difficult. And I'm very proud of this committee. I think for what we were set out to do, I think we have accomplished a lot. And, it was not an easy task, especially with a lot of pushback and whatnot that we have gotten on some issues. But overall, it was a positive experience. And I think it also opened the eyes to a lot of new community members too on like what it takes to get projects done within the district and what we are able to accomplish. And it also really emphasized how, especially with the recreational aspect of the district, how much we will need to partner with nonprofits and partnership with nonprofits. So I think we did a good job. It may not be perfect. It's also my first committee, and I'm sure hindsight 2020, we could have done some things differently, but overall, I think we did a good job, and I really, my gratitude to the other committee members, both past and present. I just cannot say thank you enough. I just can't say thank you enough to them. It's a lot of time and effort, and also to staff. It was originally we were trying to make a committee that wouldn't require a lot of staff time, but that definitely didn't happen. So thank you for your patience, and that we are respectfully asking to be dissolved. And then I am planning on working with hopefully Laura to come up with a report for the board to go over on what the working groups might look like more in detail, and also the ad hoc committees.
I want to add one thing too. One thing that Hillary Strauss, the strategic plan facilitator, pointed out is these committees also kind of serve as board succession planning. So there could be potential future RID board members coming through these committees.
Could be, but it could also scare them off. I mean, people really saw how much work goes into these meetings, and because they are for the Brown Act, like they really, I think, got a lot of education on how committees and boards operate, and they realize what we're confined to. So.
Yeah, it definitely has helped everybody. There was a lot of time and effort spent by committee members on this project. It really dug in.
Yeah, I definitely didn't probably did a good job of maintaining, like writing down all of our hours collectively, but it was a lot.
Any other questions, comments?
I really like this report, so I think you guys did a great job, and thank you very much for your time and staff's time on this. I think reaching out to the community and trying to get them involved and getting their input is fantastic, and I think it'll be great to integrate it into our strategic plan.
Yeah, agreed.
I also have to say thanks, and just some of the ideas that came out that who knew, and so by that community involvement and end result, good job, Tish. I mean, at the end of the day, it was a well thought out, great report, and things that who knew that it would even come from it. So it was very, very well done.
Okay, let's go to public comment.
I want to say thank you to you guys did a fantastic job. The report is just what a dream of this place is in my head, to bring people to enjoy it the same way the first time I came here. And I think you nailed it.
Thank you, Arlen. Joshua, you have something to say?
Of course, there's a lot of work to still be done, but this is for the strategic plan. And then once we get through the strategic plan and confirmed, then we'll be able to really prioritize. And I know I'm committed to reaching out to different nonprofits to see who wants to spearhead what, and look forward to just keeping you guys updated.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? We get a motion?
Motion to approve the dissolution of the Parks and Recreation Standing Committee.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Thank you.
Brett Bonheim,
I don't know.
Tristan Sanders,
Aye.
Session Shane,
Yes.
Jeff Hildreth,
Aye.
Mike Flurry.
Aye. Motion carries. Move on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business we need to address or discuss?
Yeah, I may not be able to make next month's meeting.
You're not able to make what?
Next month's meeting, I have mandatory travel stuff. I'm trying to see if I can get it shifted, but probably not. So I may not be at next month's meeting.
But the heated plan workshop?
That's fine. But that Thursday.
And just quick announcement, there are some flyers on the back table with the.
Oh, good, I need some.
Okay, cool.
Oh, what time is that, Chris? What time is the,
Mochima gathering tomorrow.
the Mima Chima
I
gathering?
believe it's from 5 to 7 p.m.
Perfect. All right. All through, all done? That being said, meeting adjourned, 12:10 hours.